Clips, clips.
Remember, citizens, to always subscribe and hit that bell. Jesus says it will keep you right out of hell. Enjoy, y'all.
Clips, clips.
Remember, citizens, to always subscribe and hit that bell. Jesus says it will keep you right out of hell. Enjoy, y'all.
Tonight at 11.
Doom! It's a plan! And I'm angry! I'm not a slave! I've broken the conditioning! It doesn't work on me! I'm primitive, I'm real, I know the enemy, and if we can have this spirit of normal humanity spread, it's over for the globalist! Break the conditioning now! Excuse me.
This is not the InfoWars Nightly News, where the answer to 1984 is not $19.95 plus shipping and handling, but the answer is to try and understand the double-barrel bullcrap, the double-speak, and the Orwellian wonderland we now find ourselves in. So sit back and relax as I take you through a real alternative look at the news and so-called alternative media alike. Enjoy.
Clips, clips.
Alrighty, BoobTubes. Remember to subscribe and hit that bell, or Alex Jones will make sure you rot in hell. Anywho, I thought I'd just do a wee hangout. If anybody wants to send me anything they would like me to play or anything, try and say it in the comments. I'll play it. Otherwise, I'm just going to play a few. Well, I'm making a piece and sausage right now, so I'm going to play a wee bit of news. I've not watched any news today.
Won't be looking
Again,
at
this isn't
other
Deep State Illuminati.
restrictions
I'm not
until
getting paid with the
Wednesday.
BBC.
That's
It's just
when those
royalty,
weekly deaths
copyright
figures come
free.
out.
You're
She'll
all
be
good.
looking to see whether there's been a fall for the second week in a row in those statistics. Here's what she had to say.
We think that the R number might still be a bit higher here than it is in other parts of the UK, perhaps reflecting the fact that our first cases
We are
came later
pish.
than England's, and so we may
Number
be
one,
at a
baby!
different
Not
and
only is the
slightly
UK
later
number
stage
one,
of the
Scotland's
infection
number one
curve.
in the UK,
Now,
baby.
all of that
Number one all the way.
tells me that extreme
People get jealous at
caution
England
is
and all that.
required
We're number one
at
in
this
everything.
critical juncture
Drug
to avoid
deaths,
a
heart
rapid
attacks,
resurgence of the virus.
poverty, COVID deaths. Number
So
one,
you can
baby.
hear there that Scotland may be
Number
behind
one.
this infection curve. Yet Boris Johnson has said that we are expecting him at least to make an announcement on Sunday about easing some restrictions. Now, the First Minister, Nicola Sturgeon, addressed this directly. She said that she has no idea what the Prime Minister is going to say. However, there was a request this morning for a Four Nations call. Now, she said that for that approach to work, Four Nations all
Here's
coming
a
out to
little
work
interesting
at the same
fact.
time, we need to work
I'm having a
together.
rolling sausage.
And
A
if
lot
the
of
Prime
people
Minister
traditionally
wants
have
to
a wee
move
bit of fried
faster
onion
for
with their
England,
peas
she
and
won't
sausage. Peas and
criticise
sausage.
that, but she said she will not be pressurised to lift the restrictions.
I'm going international, baby, with my piece and square sausage.
There are now consistent
combination
indications that the number of
of
coronavirus
cultures.
cases in hospital is stabilising.
It's like
but
a
it's made
gastro
huge changes
phenomenon.
to the way other services operate. Older
I don't
patients
use
have
fried
been
onions, I
disproportionately affected by
fry
COVID. For those
sauerkraut.
working with elderly patients and their
Mwah.
families, it's meant having
And
to
it's not
cope
just
without
any
family
sauerkraut, it's the
visits
sauerkraut you get with
and
wee bits
making
of
difficult choices about end-of-life
carrot through
care
it.
from a
Oh, it's
distance.
beautiful.
Our health
Fry
correspondent Lisa Summers has this
sauerkraut.
report from the Western General Hospital
And it's
in Edinburgh.
even more beautiful than onions on your rolling sausage.
Little things are different, but there have been fundamental changes enforced by coronavirus.
I'm going to
And
have a
his family
full-blown
must
mullet by the
virtually
time
visit.
the hairdressers reopen, man.
Really difficult, Lisa, to be honest. It's good that the hospital have got iPads and we're able to do this, but it's really, really tough not actually being able to see my dad.
Ron has been in hospital
Oh, I
since
bet.
January. He's been through a stroke, a fall, and he's had COVID.
I cannot praise the staff enough. They've been very, very good.
Coronavirus is a disease that has affected our older population. 3/4 of deaths are in those over 75. But there are many survivors. Every patient on this ward has had COVID, an added challenge for staff.
If somebody develops COVID in a hospital area, then we need to take steps to try and isolate them. So we often have to move people around the hospital when we wouldn't choose to do that, because we know, particularly for older people who are vulnerable and they have dementia or cognitive impairment, even a move from one bay to another can worsen that situation for them.
So we keep the dry swabs for the testing.
Staff are now regularly testing every patient over 70 for COVID, part of efforts to track the spread of the virus in hospitals.
I had it 3 weeks ago, so I was isolated. I came back to work last week. We try and do the procedure as quick and obviously give explanations as we're going along, but it's quite distressing.
What is clear is elderly medicine is having to adapt, putting measures in place for the long term. COVID is not going away anytime soon. Lisa Summers, reporting Scotland, Edinburgh.
Sport may be on hold during the pandemic, but sportsmen and women are doing all they can to maintain their fitness as they wait for a return to action. However, some are finding that without the element of competition, it's tough, and they're coming up with alternative ways of recreating that competitiveness. Jane Lewis has more.
6 exercises, each one is 4 minutes long.
Gearing up for his daily training session.
We've got 17 of you, okay, so just get yourselves ready.
One with a difference.
One, let's go. Punch those hands out.
But this isn't just the footballer putting himself through his paces. While he works out, so do others. That's because Dundee United defender Sam Wardrope is, like many of us during this time, embracing modern technology.
Everyone okay?
And is streaming his workout as he does it.
I love keeping fit and active, and I know my friends were struggling for things to do, so I'd mentioned to them to do a 30-minute workout on Zoom, and they said, yeah, let's do it. So I did it on a Saturday morning 3 weeks ago, posted it up on social media after, and there was quite a few more who were interested in it. So from that, the last 3 weeks, I've had a number of classes on. There's been men's classes, ladies' classes, mixed classes, so there's been couples doing it as well.
But with competitive sport on hold, how do athletes fill that void? Cue social media.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought, why not try and have a bit of fun in these weird times? So it started with serving into a toilet roll, because that felt quite topical. And I've done some kind of hitting against the wall, and then that,
I can do that. I just choose not to.
Some football. Yeah, just trying to have some fun and encourage other people to have fun.
Others are also getting in on the act. Here's Scotland football international Caroline Weir and her teabag volley challenge. And a swimming meets yoga challenge from Commonwealth medalist Hannah Miley. Competitiveness, no doubt too, during these Zoom workouts.
Finished.
Proving fitness need not be curtailed by lockdown.
The SPFL say the Rangers dossier alleging league wrongdoing fails to identify a single shred of evidence of bullying or corruption. The Ibrox club sent a 19-page report to all member clubs this morning. They'd called for the suspension of the SPFL Chief Executive Neil Doncaster and lawyer Rod McKenzie.
Celtic are trying to steal the league.
Now let's get the weather. Over to Christopher.
Sally, thank you. Hello, good afternoon to you. Some dry and fine weather for many parts of the country this morning. Some blue sky around there across Aberdeenshire. But
a piece and sausage
take a look at the
with
satellite
fried
and radar imagery. You can see we've got this
Richie.
veil of cloud working its way north and eastwards.
Exotic.
With some showery outbreaks of rain. So through the course of this afternoon, for many of us, we changed the blue skies for grey. So the next few hours, there's that veil of cloud working its way ever north and northeastwards. A few spots of rain with it at times. The far north and the far northeast of Aberdeenshire is still bright and sunny, and temperatures holding up, mid to high teens still by mid-afternoon. Rest of the afternoon into the evening, still quite cloudy, some showery outbreaks of rain continuing across the far north, 1 or 2 showers elsewhere, and some low cloud, mist and murk around some western coast, drifting inland, but a mild night. Town and city temperatures there, 8 to 10 Celsius. To tomorrow, and it's quite a murky start for some western parts of the country, quite cloudy, and there'll be some showers around as well. Through the course of Friday, those showers concentrated across more northern parts of the country, brightening up through the central belt and the south, but that could trigger 1 or 2 thundery downpours as well. Temperatures for central and southern Scotland, mid to high teens,
want to get
cooler
too technical with you, Richie.
That trend is with us into the weekend,
it's
because
Polish
through
sauerkraut.
Saturday and Sunday, a cold front moving in from the north, bringing some rain, some showers, but equally bringing some really chilly air. And by Sunday, some of us will have temperatures in double digits. Many won't. That's the forecast for now.
Well warned. Thanks, Christopher. And that's it from all of us here. Have a very good afternoon.
Maybe it's from the part of Poland that used to be Germany.
10 unlikely travellers. 16 countries.
Let's go!
A very interesting little known fact. Germany, as a country, is younger than the United States of America.
Probably should have gone to the toilet before starting.
Race across the world. Watch all episodes from the very beginning only on BBC iPlayer.
This is an issue of our resilience.
Filmed from day one of the lockdown.
We're delivering intensive care at the front door now.
Witness the work of the men and women inside the crisis.
Oh, I'm on Channel 1, know the news. I was wondering what was going on now. I wondered why it was the Scottish news.
Absolutely chock-a-block. And that would have given us our first financial burst, if you will.
For these businesses, every day in season counts. Days lost in spring and summer will hit hardest later in the year.
So we've come through the winter. If we don't come out of this until toward the end of the season, when we'll have not had any money coming in for a full season, and then we hit another winter, that's going to be so desperate, and I fear that many businesses won't survive.
On a sunny day, Blackpool's beaches would normally be full of visitors. Today there are just a few locals walking up and down the seafront. Many of them depend on tourism for their livelihoods.
You've spent the last 20 years of your life trying to persuade people to come here, and now you spent the last sort of 6 or 7 weeks trying to persuade people not to come here. It's quite a change. About 50% of our GDP is tourism, so even if you're not directly in tourism in Blackpool, then you know you're either in the supply chain or you benefit from it in some way. So yeah, it's a big hit on Blackpool, but obviously everybody's suffering in these difficult times.
But wartime Blackpool today is peopled by its civil defenders, munition makers and other war workers on a brief holiday.
Blackpool was open for business during the Second World War. It was a haven from a global crisis, with many here hoping our seaside towns can do the same again.
It's about making people feel, comfortable and safe coming to Blackpool. That's where we've got to put all our energies at the moment, and hope that we
Sturgeon says lockdown to be extended.
The end of the
Happy
season.
days.
That would be my greatest hope, really.
Our beaches will be there to be enjoyed long
Come on, Richie, we all know
pandemic.
Babe Station doesn't start till 11
Those
o'clock.
around them hope their businesses will be too. Adam McLean, BBC News.
It's 1:45. You're watching BBC News. Our headlines this afternoon. Bringing devastation to jobs and incomes. The Bank of England warns the coronavirus pandemic will push the UK towards its deepest recession on record.
Woohoo! Number one,
meets
baby.
to discuss easing the lockdown, but we'll have to wait until Sunday evening to find out how the Prime Minister intends to do it. No easing of the lockdown in Scotland. The First Minister says to do so would be very, very risky indeed. Everyone living on the island.
Now, if England starts easing restrictions and we don't up here, and we still have worse, or we're still better England than killing people, surely there's got to be questions asked.
Of White is being encouraged to download a new smartphone app designed to limit the spread of the virus.
They're tracking us!
The NHS COVID-19 app is being trialled on the island despite privacy concerns about centralised sharing of data. This morning, the Joint Committee on Human Rights published a report which raises significant concerns regarding surveillance and the impact on other human rights, which it believes must be addressed.
Oh, yeah, baby, that was tasty.
Here's the chair of that committee, Labour MP Harriet Harman.
Well, this is an unprecedented gathering of people's personal data, and it's necessary to have this information so that
Tasty,
the
baby.
lockdown can be eased safely.
Remember, if you like
But
a rolling
people won't sign
sausage
up to this app
with fried
unless they're
sauerkraut,
confident
subscribe
that their data is
and hit that bell.
protected, and that confidence can be given
If you don't do that when you're listening to Jim Dawson, he'll make you rot in
say
hell.
what's going to be the purpose of this data gathering, to restrict
Oh, man.
any other use of the data, to define who
There's
can
nothing
have access
quite
to
as
the data,
satisfying as some
prohibit
grub.
anybody else having access, and providing for it to be deleted at the end of this COVID crisis. We gave the government new powers.
I think I've just thought of a new fetish of mine. Something I want to try.
Parliament needs to pass a law to
Starve
make
yourself, right?
protections for people in the
Fast
face of
yourself.
unprecedented data.
Don't have any sex or food or anything for a good while.
Doctors, counsellors and charities are expressing
Then get some hookers and blow in and just start eating as well at the same time. I'm sure it's been done. I can't be the only genius that's just thought of that.
Mental illness and suicide in the UK.
That idea.
Our Ireland correspondent Chris Page has been speaking to people about the impact of isolation.
Pre-pandemic life was never close to perfect. But for many,
the impact of isolation,
social contact,
doing YouTube streams, watching the BBC, makes perfect sense.
We all have a more solitary existence.
But if anybody else, I'm going to have a wee look
face-to-face
at
contact can be especially tough for people with mental health difficulties.
It's like throwing it into a volcano. Everything, even the wee small things that you used to enjoy are annoying you when you're on your own and you're just constantly overthinking everything.
Oren, who's
no, I'm not. Yes, yeah. No, I'm not. I'm not overthinking. Or maybe I am. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking. Maybe I'm faxy.
He suffered
this is actually
and attempted suicide.
I overthink everything at the best of the time.
Therapy online, and his message is that talking to someone can save you.
I'm obviously now, thankfully, on the road to recovery, progressing. But I suppose with me, you just have to take it day by day because.
Let's put a little bit of context in here. Yeah, Brian Harvey.
Every day is going to be.
By his own admission, has mental health problems now. It wasn't too long ago that he put a noose up in his house.
Mental health problems are more common here than in any
and
other part
YouTube
of the
might
UK.
be his only way to
And the number of
converse with
taking their
people, or might be a
lives
good
is
outlet and stuff.
proportionally highest.
And
The
for
suicide
some
rate
bizarre
for men
reason,
in
there's a
Northern
bunch
Ireland
of
is about double that of England.
there's a troll
There are deep
network
concerns that the sense
making
of
false
isolation
allegations to
caused by the
DWP and
pandemic
sending idiots
could
to his
bring
door and all
huge
that kind
new
of stuff.
challenges.
Really sounds like a lovely,
Campaigners and
compassionate
support
bunch
groups
to me.
believe numerous lockdown experiences could have psychological consequences, including restrictions on funerals.
Before the pandemic, we had a crisis with mental health. We all know how horrible it is to lose a loved one. But to lose a loved one and not been able to have said goodbye, or even, as we here in Northern Ireland would say, to give them
Is there any
a
happy
decent
news today,
burial,
BBC? Is there
that's
any
gonna play
kids
on
been
those
born,
people's
or
minds for years and years and years.
is there any 100-year-olds walking around in
Philip lost
circles
his
or
son
anything?
to suicide 17 years ago. He founded a charity which provides counselling and fears a wave of mental illness could come in the shadow of the virus.
6 people are dying by suicide every week. Now, we don't want that to increase, but if we don't do something and the minister doesn't put plans in place, our fear is that that will increase. And if the resources aren't there, if the proper funding isn't there to deal with it, then we're only heading for disaster.
Northern Ireland's devolved government says the issue will be prioritised, and it's appointing a mental health champion. These times
I like a czar rather than a champion. A czar sounds
magnified needs
a
which
bit
were
cooler.
already urgent. Chris Page, BBC News.
Here is the
Belfast.
government's porn czar.
Members of the
You know what I mean? It sounds
community
beautiful.
told the BBC the
I wonder if there's
coronavirus
a porn
pandemic
czar
has left
somewhere.
them struggling for weeks without access to water, electricity,
Look
or
at these get
sanitation.
artist impressions
The government
up
says
on
it
the
has
screen
written to councils
of a
outlining
non-existent
their
virus.
responsibility to provide basic services. Our community affairs correspondent Rhianna Croxford reports.
The lockdown has unearthed new problems for people like Matt, who hasn't had access to sanitation for 6 weeks. He's one of 10,000 people living roadside and struggling to access water, electricity and toilets.
I've literally been locked out of the campsites that I would normally go to fill up with water and get rid of my waste. And the public toilets that were available to me, they've been now locked up.
Corin lives a truck away in the same lay-by in Brighton. Their nearest water point is an hour's journey.
There's been days when I've run out of water. Sometimes people do get water for me, although I feel a little bit uncomfortable about that because I really, really don't want to get sick. And we are supposed to be keeping away from one another.
That's a quite wee handy thing. I'm taking that's a water barrel.
A charity representing the traveller community says urgent support is needed.
There have been threats of evictions, and of course that means that during a time of crisis you might be moved from one place to another and you've got to start from scratch to access your water, sanitation, all those things that we need. We have had a number of issues through on our helpline where people have been struggling to register a GP, and it includes people who are on the vulnerable lists as well.
Chloe is a community support worker from Scarborough and lives in a van with her 8-year-old daughter.
You quite forget about that.
She says she's been asked to move 4 times by police in the last month, making self-isolation difficult.
My mental health has suffered because I feel like I've been outcast from my community. As you know, I've lived in this town all my life, pretty much. I've paid my taxes. I work here. I like to think that I'm a valued member of the community, and because of this, I've been shunned and exiled, and basically bullied.
Nah, I'm not going to go into any Jippo rants. Miss Spice, I can't listen to one more person tell me the virus don't exist. Do you know? Oh, this is what I'll play. I'll go on. This will be interesting, actually. Do you know what? I'm really struggling. I had this on my to-do list and I've not done it yet. Let me get the link. What I'm getting sick of is people telling you that there's doctors. Stop calling car mechanics doctors. Stop taking, like, nurses are great and all that, but they're not doctors. So, like, do you know how many nurses there are in the world? There's not. Anyway, let me see if I can find this. Open a new tab. I haven't watched this yet myself, right? I was planning on watching it and trying to, like, counter narrative other than here's nurses coming out and telling you that it's a big conspiracy. And look, I don't hold it against you if you believe that narrative. It's a very cleverly crafted con that a lot of people can fall for. Like, people fall for cons all the time. I'm pretty sure you still get people doing the three shells trick. Not the one from Demolition Man, but the one on the street. That's exactly what they do. They go. So let's have a wee listen to this. I'm hoping it's her talking and no somebody talking over it.
Oh, great goodness! It is 8:42 New York.
Now again, if you suspend disbelief and don't keep your skepticism up here, you go, oh well, she's a nurse, she works in the hospital, she obviously knows what's going on, she's telling the truth. It's like that other one that David Icke used in his interviews, talking about a doctor whistleblower when the guy was a respiratory technician or therapist or whatever, right? Now, like, no offence to that occupation or whatever, but it's not a doctor. This guy didn't do doctor stuff in school to learn that viruses are real. In fact, here's a picture. There's a test tube with viruses in it. Go and look at it under a microscope. And either the nurses, like, as great a job as nurses do, they're not there to administer medical advice. Or are they? No, they're there to administer care, not advice. Right? And has this been pedantic or anything? But it's a very easy way. Like, how many nurses are in the world? Right, there's 1.5 million work in the NHS in the UK. Not nurses, but people that work in it. God knows how many of them are nurses. So worldwide, it's got to be millions of people that are nurses. And in fact, in America, there's got to be millions of nurses, I'd imagine. In that massive spectrum of normal individuals, you're going to get people from all forms of the spectrum of politics, conspiracy, this, that, social demographics, the rest of it. Just bear that in mind before. Oh, it's a nurse. She must be telling the truth. And I don't even know what she says.
Dark time. And I got to my regular.
Hold on.
8:42 New York time. And I got to my regular unit. And they took my patient away, my black guy. And now I'm getting switched units. This is exactly what happened before at the other hospital. As soon as I told somebody, and like management, and tried to advocate for my patient, they take the patient away from me and then they move me. So, like, I legitimately don't even know what to do anymore. Like, even the advocacy groups don't give a shit about these people. Like, literally, like, Black lives don't matter here. And I mean, that's pretty sad that somebody who
How the hell did Black Lives Matter come into it?
Who is white and lives hundreds of miles away from the city gives more of a shit about these people than the actual people in this city.
Try to
figure out what this noise is.
Like, for real. Like, I had a complete breakdown yesterday because, you know, I missed
Bloody cutting the
an
grass
important
outside.
email.
I was wondering if my computer was going to blow up or something. It's the grass cutter outside. Gotta get these cans on. Right, sorry.
To do a revision on my proposal, so my proposal got canceled because I was trying to advocate for my patient and talk to management here and get the care that he needs because he's being medically mismanaged.
Right, let's bear this in mind as well. I have no idea whether anybody's getting medically mismanaged and stuff, right? Here's a reality. Actually, recently I got first-hand evidence of this for people that work inside the NHS. And this, in fact, if you know anybody that works inside the NHS, you know that they're all sniping at each other. All the underlings hate all the uplings because there's, like, what do you call it, grades? Different grades, different something or whatever, right? And the ones in the lower grades are always bitching at the people with the higher grades, and the people with the higher grades are always looking after people with the higher grades and all that kind of jazz, right? So there's bitching and moaning and backsniping and people that management that don't get on with their staff and staff that don't get on with their management all the time. So I can think of numerous first-hand stories and and examples of this. So I've not heard anything that proves that. Another one? Is this another nurse whistleblower?
And I just had a complete fucking breakdown because, you know what, my entire proposal got canceled because I, you know, wasted my time advocating for a fucking patient who's just gonna die anyway.
From a fake virus? So
you know, and sure enough, they take the patient away from me, and then almost 2 hours into the shift, they switch me units. This is exactly what happened at the other hospital when I was advocating for the little Hispanic lady.
I don't know why she's bringing the race of these people in. Like, surely it's a patient, a customer even. The black man and the brown man, I'm advocating for them. She got moved from her last hospital and now she's getting moved again. People that are working inside hospitals right now, their arseholes are twitching, they're on edge a wee bit. Maybe the management haven't got time for pushback from staff right now because they've got other things to think about. So when they're getting pushback from staff, they're like, I've not got time to micromanage this at the moment, move her sideways. It's just a different way of looking at it. What I'm saying here is as plausible as, in fact, it's more plausible, I would argue, than it's a fake virus and somehow this video's proving it.
You know, guys, here's the thing. Let me try and put things into context for you, okay? I know not everybody's gonna live. I'm not that fucking green or ignorant or, you know, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed to think that, okay? I know we're gonna have a shit ton of people die. But these people aren't dying from COVID. Let me give you several examples here. An anesthesiologist intubated the patients, like, I think it was right.
Who cares? You bring up a good point, right? Dr. Paul Cotterelli? Fuck knows. An Italian dude, maybe. Who knows? Right, now, I don't know this guy for Adam. Is he a medical doctor? You know, being a doctor and tying your shoelaces doesn't mean that you're then in a position to advise people over viruses. Being a doctor and being a pharmaceutical doctor doesn't, well, it does give you, in fact, you do give medical advice as a pharmacist, right? I'm trying to think of other denominations of doctors that don't give medical, like a foot doctor, you know, you get specialists, doctors, and you wouldn't go to them and get advice on viruses. Dr. Ron Paul. Is he a real doctor? Is he a medical doctor? I don't know. My point being, is this guy a doctor? Doctor, or is he a Dr. Dre doctor, you know?
Bronchi and of a patient, and they couldn't get the sats up, and for about 5 hours, like, we were waiting on a chest x-ray to confirm that the placement was wrong. And in the meantime, while we're waiting for that, we've told the anesthesiologist that it was placed wrong, because, like, literally only one side of his fucking chest is, like, inflating. He dies. Okay. A patient had a heart rate of 40, and the resident started doing chest compressions on him, which is not what you do. You just externally pace them, or you give him some atropine. And then, I run in there to stop him from doing chest compressions on somebody with a fucking pulse. And then he decides to push epi. He throws some pads on him to defibrillate the guy in bradycardia.
There we go. There's who cares. Exactly. He's a doctor of AI, artificial intelligence. I mean, it's a very easy trick to do. You get somebody who's a doctor in something that's not medical, and you get them to spout some crazy religious conspiracy theory about viruses and vaccinations and stuff. And before you know it, people are parroting, I heard from a doctor. Technically, you're right, but it's not. Dr. Dre ain't the kind of doctor you want to be getting your medical advice from. You know what I'm saying? Maybe some pharmaceutical grade bud off of Dr. Dre back in the day, but certainly not medical advice. But maybe some of that real sticky icky. Ooh, put it in the air.
Okay, he has a heart rate of 40 in a stable, bradycardic rhythm. We just need to give him some atropine and pace him. He fucking defibrillates him and kills him. And I was literally ran out of the patient's room to get the director of nursing who was standing out there. And I'm like, can you stop him? He's going to kill that patient. He's going to kill that patient if he defibrillates him with bradycardia and a heart rate of 40. And the director of nursing just shook his head. And I turned around and he killed the dude. Okay? There was a nurse who placed an NG tube.
Right. I think conspiracy people will be hearing there that they deliberately let somebody die so they could inflate the numbers for COVID. I don't even think that's what's happening in her head. But in other people's head, that's what she's saying. I think if you grabbed a conversation with her and you said, is what you're saying here that they are deliberate... I've not played it in its entirety, right? I'm just going on what I've heard. I've not listened to this yet. I'd imagine if you spoke to her, she would say that I'm talking about shit going wrong, me having an opinion, this guy having another opinion, him going in doing his opinion and somebody dying. Right? I don't think she's suggesting that anybody deliberately killed that guy. Right? I'm just saying it's semantics, but it's important when people are trying to use things like this to paint a crazy narrative.
Into some guy's lungs and filled his lungs with tube feeding. There was a nurse who confused a long-acting insulin with a short-acting insulin and gave 30 units of a fast-acting insulin and killed the guy.
I'm sure these accidents, let's not confuse it for deep state Illuminati agents in hospitals deliberately killing people to inflate coronavirus numbers like David Icke is trying to get into everybody's head. She's talking about maybe medical malpractice, right? That they could get sued for and all that jazz, right? I wasn't there. I don't know the ins and outs. But I'm certainly not hearing a centralised conspiracy to kill people and inflate corona deaths. And I'm seeing a woman that looks at the end of her tether as well, which is very understandable.
What else? Other stuff have I seen?
David Icke's interview?
It's just here they're just gonna let them rot on the vent. They're medically mismanaging these patients. And I'm not.
Okay, so she's claiming medical mismanagement, not a deep state Illuminati conspiracy, but people will hear that.
A doctor, guys. I'm not professing to be a doctor by any.
Woo! Bingo! Brilliant! At least she's done, and again, the two videos that I've seen of people claiming to be doctors and medical professionals reporting this stuff has been a nurse and a respiratory technician. And no offence to those occupations, they're not doctors. You wouldn't go in and get medical advice about viruses and how to treat them and how to stop them spreading and all that from those particular occupations. It's like going and asking a car mechanic.
Means. But there's, like I said, basic standards of care that we have to do. Like, when somebody's low on blood, literally on the brink of a critical low blood level, we should replace the blood. But I asked the residents and they're like, does he have internal bleeding? And I said, no. Then they're like, well, we're not replacing the blood. Well, here's the thing. In these COVID patients, they all eventually need a blood transfusion. Their blood, like, if you don't have enough blood to actually oxygenate your body, the vent settings don't fucking matter, okay? They don't matter. Because you...
Is she confirming the existence of a non-existent virus?
You have no oxygen carrying capacity of your blood, okay?
And she also confirming people are sick of this and dying left, right and centre?
I told you about the patient where like all that like purulent drainage just kept seeping into his lungs because the ET tube cuff was leaking and nobody has a fucking manometer here to...
Here, lazy Jesus, you might be a good one to bump gums with. I've heard in America people spouting the conspiracy. Where was it I heard this? I'm sure I played it the other night. Somebody saying that one of my relatives has got cancer and she can't get her life-saving cancer treatment because all the hospitals are closed, so cancer patients are dying to protect people from the virus. And I'm sitting thinking, right, as convinced that I am that you're no telling lies, it's just, I know somebody, I know a few people, there's lazy Jesus, and somebody I know currently getting cancer treatment, everything they all need, but obviously taking precautions and all that as much as they can, limiting human contact and all that jazz. But it's, like, she's getting all the treatment she needs, chemotherapy and all that jazz and all the blood tests and stuff. So, I'm sorry for letting my first-hand evidence overrule what I see on YouTube, and that's just it's a kind of principle I've got, you know. It's you tend to steer yourself in a better direction if you go on what you witness firsthand in real life rather than the picture, the narrative that can get painted through the power of YouTube.
Check the pressures. And I finally figured that out. And I kept saying, hey, you know what? His white blood cell count is steadily like, you know, we're having a problem with it. Like, do you want to start some antibiotics? No. Well, does he have a fever? And I said, no, he doesn't have a fever. They didn't want to start antibiotics. Day shift nurse finally got a chest x-ray. He has full-blown pneumonia now. Like, I've been telling them this for a while, but because he didn't have a fever, they didn't want to give him antibiotics. We have a nurse who, like, fell asleep at the fucking nurse's station while we were all in rooms, and her norepinephrine ran out, and the guy had no fucking blood pressure and didn't perfuse his brain, and I'm pretty sure he's brain dead. That same nurse is now running a CRRT machine, a dialysis-like machine, that she has never done before. She said she'll figure it out.
Well, it sounds to me like this virus is clearly a hoax because the health services and stuff aren't under tons of fucking pressure and cracking at the seams. Or, hold on, that sounds more plausible, doesn't it?
Okay, I'm pretty fucking smart and I figure a lot of shit out, but I would never attempt to try and figure out a CRRT machine on the fly. Like, we are adequately staffed. There's a shit ton of staff in there, like, and we have a nurse who does CRRT in there. She has a different patient load. We told them, like, hey, let's just swap these nurses so the one that knows how to work this machine can work this machine, but they didn't want to do that. So I'm pretty sure that patient will be dead here in a couple hours.
Some breaking news, folks. Danny Tomo has been spotted committing robbery in India. So this is going to be definitely something we're going to have to look at. And it's coming from, this is obviously real, you know, because it's coming from the Mail Online. Bank is robbed by Tommy Robinson's monkey. All my life, clicking buttons like this. All my life. Oh, fuck you, Mail Online bastards that yous are. Going to have to advertise your fascist companies to me. Bad folks that yous are. Right, come on, dance like the monkey you wanted, mate. Give me your adverts and just give me the story. God, look how slow it goes when you bloody take off the ad blocker, man. Oh my God, look, I think my thing's frozen up. It's as bad as London Reels website. Buy this, do this, click here, boom, 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 porno here, alert this woman here. Free writing existent, no, I don't want that shit. How'd I just look at the feckin' story? Report this ad, I can't even get, how'd I get by the ad? How do I close the ad? Where is the ad? Hold on, I'm not even joking, I do not know how to get rid of this ad. Maybe you can't. Screw you, man. Oh God, right, I'm gonna show yous. Let's see if we can try and find a back door into this. Is this back door going to work? There we go. Fucking hell, man. Advertising whores. Click here, buy this. Danny Tomo. Spotty, there's Danny Tom. Oh, wow. I bet she's a trained monkey. They've trained the monkey to rob banks. How cool is that? Now, if the monkey gets caught, do you charge the monkey? And how many peanuts? Oh God, get away with that subscribing. You're missing the monkey. Get away. Go Bolt. That's it. Danny Tomo, the one-man trained monkey. Crime wave. Now back to more important news.
And this is why I freaked the fuck out yesterday. Because nobody is listening. They don't care what is happening to these people. They don't. I'm literally coming here every day and watching them kill them. I mean, we're not going to save everybody. That's fine. Like, come on, guys. We're not God.
That wee statement there will be the ones that will get like took out of context. Like, they're literally turning up and killing people deliberately to inflate the fake, the death numbers so they can blame a fake virus so the Chi-Coms can take over the world. That's not what I'm hearing, unfortunately.
But, like, some of these people, hey, we know that they're not going to live. Let's start a hospice unit or something, you know? Like, they don't need to be in the ICU. Let's change course. Let's do palliative care or something. Like, literally, some of these people are just on sedation to keep them on the vents. Nothing else. I have a lady on a tranq on a vent, and she's not even fucking cognizant. She's not even on sedation. You know what we give her every day? We give her breathing treatments, albuterol, and she gets insulin. And that's it. That's it.
No bleach.
We're not treating the COVID, guys. Like, for real, we're not treating the COVID.
Give her some sunlight and bleach.
You know, every day we try and get these guys off the vents, right? Because, you know, there's criteria for weaning. Every day, the day shift nurse will wean them down, like, to, like, minimum sedation. Every night, we come in and we get the same 2 residents, and they fucking max out all the sedation again and undo all the work from the day shift. Then the day shift attendant will come in and they'll all do rounds, and they'll be like, he wasn't synchronizing with the vent. So we had to turn all the sedation on. And I'm like, he wasn't synchronizing with the vent because it's in the wrong vent mode.
He's not got to the next level like Max Egan.
So, I legit don't even know what to do anymore. Like, I tried calling advocacy groups. I tried talking with management here, like the nursing admin. Like, nothing. Nobody's doing anything. We still have 100% mortality rate in the ICU unit. I just left. But, I mean, they're living longer because we have, like, legit ICU nurses there. So, CDC finally, like, not the CDC, FDA approved yesterday the remdesivir study. Like, to start using remdesivir for COVID patients. Guys, I don't even know what to do anymore. And this is why I had a complete fucking breakdown. Like, I literally had to call my friend Lisa and FaceTime her, and she answered the fucking phone while she was in the shower because she like knew I was having a hard time to talk to her, because it's like going in the fucking Twilight Zone. Like, everyone.
I'm sorry, my head's in the gutter. I just heard girls talking to each other in the shower there. I'm sorry. Through all this doom and gloom and pandemic and all that, I still hear the good bits. That's me taking things to suit my worldview. In my mind, they were naked and soaked up, FaceTiming each other. Like, life's too short. I always wanted to do this with you. See, that's me. That's what I hear when I listen to this. It's fitting my worldview, you know. I don't hear coronavirus conspiracy. I hear two ladies showering together, FaceTiming, because life's too short. And I don't know when the virus is going to get to them, so they just want to check a few boxes off their bucket list.
Here is okay with this. Look,
are you
the
okay
only
with
way
that?
I can kind of put this into context for everybody.
I know, filthy mind and all.
And this is going to be kind of an extreme example. This is like really the only thing I can come up with.
I can think of a few more extreme examples of my filthy mind, but let's not go there.
It's like if we were in Nazi Germany and they were like taking the Jews to go put them in a gas chamber, I'm the one like there saying, hey, this is not good, this is bad, this is wrong, we should not be.
Oh, that's like, oh no, come on, Hen, that is a bit extreme. You're comparing shite medical management, right? Like, let's go to the extreme shite, a really rubbish medical management, to the gassing of people and gassing the Jews or whatever.
Be doing this, and then everyone tells me, hang in there, you're doing a great job, you can't save everybody, you're amazing, you're a great nurse. Guys, I know I'm a fucking good nurse. I know I go in there and I give it 500% every day.
I'm fucking amazing. Oh, she's a Donald Trump fan. Oh, maybe she's just an average American, you know. Let's no like burst her bubble and tell her like 500% does. You can't really give that.
Okay, I know I'm not being negligent. Okay, I fucking know that. What I need is someone to help me save these people from being killed. Okay, from gross negligence and complete medical mismanagement. And no one is listening to me.
So let's say she's saying 100% accurate and true. So she's talking about negligence and... See, the more I try to think of saying something, the more it just goes out my mouth. And medical mispractice. She isn't talking about a conspiracy to artificially inflate deaths of corona victims. Maybe she's in the worst hospital in America. Maybe she's the best nurse in the worst hospital and would sprinkle a bit of corona pandemic on top of that, and she's going after tits. There's 1,000,001 ways of looking at this instead of it's... I honestly don't know the kind of... That's fair enough. It's no misleading. She looks like a nurse to me. I don't know. Did she mention that at the start? She's definitely said she isn't a doctor. And she sounds like a nurse because she's dealing with patients. Aye, she is a nurse. She mentioned that.
Like, for real, nobody's listening. I even tried getting a hold of black advocacy groups here. They just put me on hold or hang up on me. Tried talking to management. Now I got moved units. Like, I legit don't know what to do anymore.
Bing! I know! Let's cry into a YouTube video. It's like me when I'm drunk, man, and it's like the least sensible thing to do right now is to go on YouTube. It's the best idea in the world.
Can someone come up with some type of a solution for me? Because I'm kind of out of ideas.
Have a word with the pharmacy, Hen. Some of that. I think I've heard that Oxycontin that you've got over there is meant to be the bomb. Oh, look at that poor woman, man.
You know, when I try and talk with some of the other nurses here, and they're like, well, you can't save everybody. And they all know what's happening. They all agree with me, and they all just shake their heads. And I'm like, am I the only one?
Breaking it down and making YouTube videos. Nah, I think there's been a few by this report is.
Who is not a sociopath? To think that this is okay? I mean, guys, they literally don't even know when they're dead. Like, how many times have I told you they've assigned me a...
That's not as cool as the story that was in Spain where they went to this has not been independently verified by the Independent Republic of Estonia. But the story that came out of Spain's when experts came home, care homes, they rocked up. All the old people in the care home was dead and the staff was nowhere to be found. They'd done a bunk. But hey, it's just a goalkeeper told me this virus is fake, so I'm going to believe him.
A dead person. Like, how long have they been dead? Nobody knows. Like, how is anybody assessing anything without a stethoscope? Normally we have, like, those disposable stethoscopes. But I knew what we were coming into, so I brought my old junky one. Nobody has listened to anybody's lungs as long as I've been here. Even with disposable stethoscopes. I keep telling them that, the guys are like, my patient's going acidotic. We need to do something about this before his kidneys shut down. Give him some bicarb or something like that. And this is what they do. They let the patient's blood get acidotic. Their kidneys shut down. And then at the last minute, another fucking trauma. This is like the 5th fucking trauma tonight. Some dude got fucking shot in front of the hospital. Like, 2 to the chest and 2 to the abdomen. What the fuck is wrong with these people? Yeah, so anyways, kidney shut down, and at the last fucking minute, they finally decide to run bicarb. So they run 5 liters of bicarb into a person who's gained 20 pounds of water weight, and...
Bicarb? Is that like a fucking thing they do medically? I thought it was just for baking cakes.
Completely throw him into heart failure, and he dies several hours later. That was one of my patients. So I let them know. Like, they had me start the bicarb, like, before I left one night, and by the time I had come back in...
Miss Spice, that's a good point you're making there. I don't know how much medical stuff you do or do not know. I know nothing. Right, so this kind of stuff that I could be bamboozled with. I could just like see if I let go of logic and just got all emotional, I would see a poor woman crying and breaking her heart because there's death and destruction all around her, and like I think it would be insulting to even like sort of a question if she's came to the right conclusion, or even sort of a. Not her motives, by the way, just question if she's came to the right conclusion. Or if she's just stressed out her tits and on edge or whatever. Different ways of looking at it. But it's the people who don't have the knowledge to understand the science of vaccination and all that are easily gaslit by people on the internet who are goalkeepers telling you the virus isn't real. Somebody please get the question to David Icke. What is that? What's the picture of the virus that's doing the rounds? What is that? David, what is this thing that everybody's taking pictures of? What's this thing that everybody's working in laboratories around the world? And it isn't just your elite. It's people that are poorer than you, David. It's people that haven't been so high up in the social structure that they can get onto the BBC to launch themselves as the birth of Jesus. Okay, David, the scientists, thousands of scientists that are working around this world that are using electron microscopes. I think I'm right, I'm probably talking pish. Some sort of a magnifying big glassy thing It makes things look bigger, not further away, bigger. Not closer, bigger. Are these people all, what are they looking at, David? What are all these pictures the news programmes have got? Just this alone, this one little, that whole premise. People can go and check this out for themselves. It's the chemtrail thing. It's the standard chemtrail thing. This is when that just went evaporated like a lump of sugar in a cup of tea. It just dissolved, the chemtrail thing, when I went, right, okay, because I was all in, I was filming chemtrails, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to get them up and this and crack this, I'm going to find the secret of the chemtrails and then make a YouTube video and everybody will be thanking me because I've put the end to chemtrails. And then I looked into it, I was like, no, oh shit, oh fuck, no, it's complete bullshit. The narrative that all these contrails, I'm going to call them what they are, contrails that turn up in flight paths, crisscrossing each other, eerily enough in very similar atmospheric pressures, and people who don't understand that the atmosphere acts differently up there than it does down here, and the narrative that every commercial plane, because the people were like looking at the chemtrails, then going onto that fly spotter and going, look, this is the plane, there's 90210, Beverly Hills 90210. That was the plane that was dropping the chemtrail and spraying me like an ant today. Then they were taking soil samples of where they seen contrails and going, here, there's something in the soil, that means it came from the chemtrail. You're like, that's not very scientific, pal, sorry. Right. And then even just in the aviation industry, everybody that works in and around all the commercial planes, cleaning them, maintaining them, filling them up with fuel, the whole process, loading the passengers, are all these thousands, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people worldwide, are they just like ignoring the secret pipes that every pilot, and remember, you can probably bump into pilots in your local city centre and some pubs and clubs and hooker bars. Hooker bars is your best bet, but you can just bump into pilots. Nowadays, pilots are pretty running the bill. What is it, 40, 60 grand or something? Commercial pilots only get paid now, right? You can bump into, oh, maybe that's why they're on the take. Maybe the Illuminati come, pilot, here, secret £1 million a year to push a secret button to chemtrail your family, your friends, your sisters, your brothers, your kids. Sorry, this is the logic train. This is the manic logic train I go on when I'm trying to decipher fucking conspiracy bullshit. So the logic train that I went on down the chemtrails thing that just made it just dissolve like a sugar cube on my tongue. It was beautiful. And I was like, oh my god, I was duped for all that time. So who are these lunatics that are putting that idea of that mass conspiracy in my head? And then I went back and went, oh, Brian Gerrish back in the day tried to spread chemtrail pish, and that cunt was in the Navy. There's no way he doesn't have the logic that I've got. Oh, hold on, he actually believes the Earth was built in 7 days. Maybe he doesn't he? And then use the logic behind just David Icke's assumption that this virus is fake. He's not even using the Alex Jones get out of jail free clause used car salesman sales talk. He's coming straight out and saying the virus is fake and the numbers are made up or big and enlarged, and I don't even know, but he's, and if you don't just blindly believe him and you let yourself go on a logic train, get off the Looney Tune train for 2 seconds and just let yourself take just a trip for 5 minutes. See where it takes you and go down logic. Knock on Spock's door. Ask him to spray you with logic juice. That's what I heard he calls spunk. And then, Spunk will cure all forms of conspiracies, and then just ask yourself the logic. So the conspiracies I believe in, or still believe in, they just, the logic train hasn't got me off the Looney Tune train with them yet. And it's like this virus, and like always semantics, right? This virus is this like all disasters, like all crises, like everything that gets people bumholes twitching. It gets jumped upon by everybody trying to make money from the crisis, trying to gain from the crisis politically, so on and so forth. There's always someone there trying to make the most out of crisis. So all the stuff and the agendas that people see getting pushed in the track and tracing and all that kind of New World Order stuff and all that, it doesn't mean that it's inherently linked and part of one big massive cabal that's out to kill you. Because I've been in that headspace, and it's not a healthy headspace, and I don't believe it's true anymore. Maybe I'm wrong, but being in a headspace where you genuinely think there's like a wee cabal of secret Satanists sitting in a room eating babies, like getting the smack mixed with babies' blood injected into them, and all that jazz. I don't think that's accurate. And the reason I don't is, look how I don't think that politically and how things run and how society's organised, it's changed over the last 2,500 years, but not that much, I would argue. It's very similar, right? And at all times, there's always been different groups of very strong people competing with each other to knock each other off top. And right now, that's what we're getting caught up with. Political entities duking it out with each other, using all this stuff to gaslight people left, right and centre. Anyway, let's get back to this poor lady and relax.
The next shift, he was dead. And they assigned him to me. And he was already in a body bag.
Didn't that sounded like doom and gloom there?
Like, guys, they're not dying of COVID, okay? Like, yeah, people are gonna fucking die of COVID. Like, yeah, some people legit will end up with multi-organ failures and will legit throw the clots and kill them, like, and die, people. I fucking know this. I'm not like some fucking new grad, okay? That's gonna save everybody in the world, okay? I am literally telling you that they're murdering these people. And nobody will listen to me. I mean, like...
Well, it would be manslaughter, like, and like... It would be malpractice. Through malpractice, if you murdered somebody through malpractice, I'm sure it would be classed as manslaughter, not murder. So, like, let's understand, let's bear this in mind. She isn't a doctor and she's not a lawyer, so the words she's using might not be 100% accurate. So, if I'm not, I'm not in that hospital. Some say it could be the best nurse in the world and the worst hospital in the world, and it's ran by a bunch of charlatan crap medical people mismanaging everything left, right and centre, and people are dying left, right and centre. At no point has she said this is happening deliberately or indicated, but she's saying they're literally murdering people. It's semantics, but these details are important.
Like I said, I'm not a doctor, but I'm pretty sure that when you defibrillate somebody with a heartbeat of 40 in a stable rhythm and you kill them, that's murder. And I'm pretty sure that when you put somebody's PEEP up to like 25 and PEEP doesn't go past, I think, like 15, 20, and you blow their lungs out and they die, I'm pretty sure that's murder. You know, I mean, I've just watched a doctor drop a central line and fucking rupture like the subclavian like vein, and the guy fucking bled to death. I mean, COVID didn't break that central line. COVID didn't kill that guy. I mean, he was a COVID patient. I mean, every single patient I've taken care of, guys, is a COVID patient. Like, I've never had a non-COVID patient, okay? I mean...
I hope she didn't confirm the existence of the Illuminati there. I missed it.
I don't even know what to say anymore.
You sure, Hen? That's been a good 15 minutes.
So, and that's why I got upset yesterday. Because nobody's listening.
Is this whole clip her?
I literally had to call my friend Lisa because I'm like, dude, I am not crazy, right? Like, this is wrong, right? Oh, God. I watched an anesthesiologist place an ET tube and rupture their esophagus, and the guy choked to death on his own blood. COVID didn't place that ET tube incorrectly. And nobody cares because they're all minorities and we're in the fucking hood.
All right, there's a wee. Man, I must be a clairvoyant. Best doctor in the world, in the worst hospital in the world, because they're minorities in the hood, and the people that were, she was. I'll be honest, I presumed she was white, right? Am I making the wrong presumption? Or white? Or is she like indicating white people are minorities in America? Because they're not. The white people are still very much the majority. There's a demographic fact they don't let you know. But is she like maybe like white Latino? Am I just making this up, or do you know what I'm talking about? You know, you get those Latino that like just look white, but they're like really dark hair, but their skin's dead pale, but then you can kind of see. Oh, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but I think you know what I'm talking about. It's easy to observe, hard to explain. But there's another wee interesting snippet that I argue gives a wee bit of context of where this is kind of coming from.
You know, and that's just not okay. You know, I grew up really poor. And so I know what it's like to be like completely forgotten and for nobody to advocate for you.
So she thinks they're murdering them because they're black and Hispanic or whatnot?
And that's why I get really upset, guys. Because, like I said, I know that a lot of people are gonna die, but, you know, COVID didn't cause that pneumo. An incorrectly placed ET tube placed that pneumo, and then they wouldn't let me fix it. Like, all I had to do was, like, adjust it.
Jiggle the handle.
And they wouldn't let me do it. So if anyone's got any idea what the hell I can do to save my one black guy before they completely transfer me out of this hospital, that would be great.
It's just very fixated on like the colour of folk, you know what I mean? My one black guy. And let the white ones go kill the white ones.
Because he's mentally there. When he sees us come in, his heart rate and his blood pressure drop up. And he doesn't sync with the vent. Because he can see us. And when we leave, he calms down again. He just physically...
Maybe you're cursed, hen?
...can't communicate with us. Like I told you, I had Stephanie explain to him what was happening to him because you can't hear me very well through a respirator. Plus, I'm sure that respirator is probably scary. Especially if you're kind of out of your mind from all the sedation. But he's a cab driver and lives a couple blocks away from here. So... he has some family, but... the problem is... it said 99999 for the phone number, and I didn't get the address before, like, I abruptly got moved. I'm sitting in the vending machine room because it's nice and cool. I'm in between units right now, so they haven't realized I'm gone. I figured I'd have a mini meltdown and then get my shit together because I've never been to the other unit. Mind you, I've been on this unit the whole time, and whatever, I'm flexible. But once again, you know, I talked to admin. Next day I got moved. That's what happened at the other hospital. They don't care what's happening to these people. And I just have to keep watching them die. And oh, God. There's like this weird telenovela on. I think it's about a dog. Yeah, I mean, I tried talking to hospital management. I tried calling CMS. I tried calling.
Now, I might be picking this up wrong, but I'm kind of getting the impression this is a Facebook Live, a YouTube Live, or some sort of a live stream, in the way she seems to be reading messages off a screen and answering them. I know this, I can do this myself, and if you're doing a live stream, you should never really start answering a question that you don't say beforehand, because when you listen back, you're like, are you speaking to somebody in your head live on air? You know, it can look like that, but you're just obviously like looking at the chat, which sometimes when people watch back when it's not live, nobody knows it's there, and it just looks like you're talking to one of the many voices inside your head.
The equivalency.
Maybe she is talking to the voices in her head.
Of their division of aging. I tried calling a couple Black Power groups in the area. Who else? I mean, this took several hours. This is
like this. I don't know. Somehow, some way, this corona thing is now getting wrapped up in racism. They're dragging the racism into it somehow. The racism.
That's why I missed that email for the revision for my proposal. Because, like, fuck, guys, I tried contacting a newspaper. Nobody called me back.
Well, that's probably why you're getting moved units and all that. They're trying to manage your meltdown. So.
Yeah, Stacy. Fuck. You'd probably lose your mind because you're not a sociopath, thinking this is all okay.
Probably lose your mind.
That's just weird, guys. They're all okay with it. Like, I tell you, we get on the fucking bus and we go into the Twilight Zone here. Like, how do you not know when your patient is dead? For real.
Maybe when they're still farting and all that, you know, sometimes I'm led to believe when you die, air comes out, and sometimes it comes out your mouth through your arse. So maybe they're like, okay, Mr. Smith, come back when you're finished. Just an idea, just throwing it out there. Just throwing it out there.
Oh, I mean, back at that other unit when shit was just crazy and bodies were just fucking dropping, yeah, I can understand that. But guys, you have a shit ton of staff. Like, yeah, we have hundreds of extra nurses that are still here that are not part of hospital staff managing these patients, but we're on top of it now. We're on top of it now. There's no reason to not know when your patient's dead. I mean, there's no reason you should be managing a dialysis machine never knowing how to use a dialysis machine when there's a dialysis nurse in there. My hand's shaking because I'm so pissed.
You shouldn't get drunk before your shift 10. See how you can take things out of context, people. It's just the gin talking, folks. Just the gin. I suspected it all along. End of a hard, long shift and she's hit the gin.
Yeah.
And we all know what women are like when they hit the gin.
That nurse that was sleeping in the corner there, she was from the ER yesterday. Like when I had my first original.
Maybe Hugh. Maybe it was the TikTok nurses. Like patients were dying, and like right, take 99. Hey, we just need to get this. This is the last one, right? This is the last one. Hey, there's our baseline. Go! Take 101. You're out of sync again, Frank. Fuck you. 2 hours later. Right, maybe you're right, mate.
Breakdown.
Maybe somebody should make a TikTok video about like that. That'd be funny. Chinese would love that.
And she's like, well, they don't just unnecessarily intubate them. They try and, would you buy that? I'm like, girl, I am not fucking green. I know people need a tube dropped, okay? Like, I'm not saying that. Like, at the other hospital, they were doing unnecessary intubations because they had no fucking clue how to put the vent into CPAP or BiPAP. Yeah, I mean, so, I mean, but yeah, there's like legit indications. Like, fuck, that dude needs a tube. Yeah, I know that. I know that.
Is a tube American slang for a crack pipe?
Yeah, my lead at the other hospital who advocated for the patients too. Like the first day I got there and I was in orientation, that crash course orientation, he warned me that I was going to have a problem. He would advocate for the patients too. They fucking moved him too. He's at a completely different hospital. I tried reaching out to him, but he hasn't texted me. Like, what do you think? I saw what was bad? He saw way worse shit than that. Okay, how bad's my face look? I'll just put my respirator on. They ain't gonna fucking know no different. I was in here freaking the fuck out. Alright, guys, I'm going to the unit. Let's see how they kill him there, okay? Stay safe. Stay out of NYC for your healthcare.
Well, see if I ever end up in hospital, I definitely want a nurse with that positive mental attitude coming and treating me. Let's see how we're going to kill them in there. Great stuff. But, I mean, you could listen to that and take it many, 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 many different ways. Whistleblower, like, she's blowing the whistle on how badly ran some hospitals are. Well, and that's to be commended, but this is now getting used to some sort of promote the idea that they're going around deliberately killing people in hospitals to inflate the numbers, to propagate the idea the virus is fake. It's crazy days indeed. Anywho's, let's listen to a wee bit of this.
Left this unit, but his kidneys can't cope with COVID-19.
They just can't cope, Captain. My kidneys just can't cope.
Is it the breathing? Is that the hardest thing?
Aye. Sometimes the medication they put me on kind of makes me hallucinate. That's not the right word. Hallucinate. And it's a bit scary.
I hate hearing a Glaswegian accent with that.
Unit, we've discovered that it's a lot quieter
Brings
than
it
it was
home,
a few
man.
days ago. Quite a few of the beds are empty. But actually, there's been a lot going on. A patient's been admitted while we've been here, and unfortunately...
Right, hold on, right. Again, here's a little known fact. The BBC and the mainstream media are reporting that the capacity that was built up prior to the peak of the virus has been enough to cope. If there's any truth in what Boris Johnson never says in the government, they say that nobody's died because of lack of access to a ventilator. I've not heard any doctors or nurses are coming out and contradicting that. But you hear a lot of doctors and nurses openly coming out and contradicting the government's spin on the PPI. You know, they're wanting our personal and the personal payment insurance protection or something. PPI, I want my PP. I want my PPI. The PPE. These are just some things that I think are noteworthy.
Unfortunately, we've also learned that a patient has died in here today.
His wife was here. We managed to let his wife in. So it was very important because they'd spent their whole life together. He's been attached to people in the community. Wondered for us. I got his wife to give his wee heart a kiss, and one heart goes with the patient, and the other heart will be sent out to the patient's family. Hi, John.
John Johnston is still here though.
I'm not going to watch
COVID
much more
and
of
a
this,
lung
man.
infection left him needing a ventilator to help him breathe.
It's day 3 for John in ICU, day 22 in Monklands Hospital. He's a coach driver who loves his job.
Fuck, it's Monklands, man.
Here If you can write one word. You can't do it in one word.
There are too many words to say to them. We'll get a wee chat when this comes out, maybe then, eh? Yeah. So you're definitely getting better, alright?
You know, that's obviously like
Public health advice may have worked,
a mannequin and
but the
all that.
first
And
wave
these
of this
people are all
virus is still
part of a
washing
secret
ashore.
club
On the
pretending
day
there's
we
a
filmed
virus.
here, 7 coronavirus patients died.
So this is where you were initially, Irene?
Irene Norwood, though, is a survivor. She's back in intensive care, but only to...
I'll be honest, man, I prefer watching this when it's English accents. No for hatred against England or anything, it seems further away. Seems like it's only happening to the foreigners. Rather than up here.
I'm trying to hold it together.
But Scotland are better than England at this killing people with COVID thing.
I
Remember that?
Everything was happening really quickly, and they said, we need to get her to call her family. And I spoke to my husband and my sons. You can only say what's in your heart. And it's one of the things, if you don't say it, you might never ever get the chance. They do not say stay at home for no reason.
A short and simple message.
Good luck with your recovery, Irene.
This isn't over, so stay home and stay safe. James Cook, BBC News, at Monklands Hospital.
Lick doorknobs and play with traffic. The virus is fake, according to a guy that believes in
Everyone
shapeshifting
living on the Isle of
lizards.
Wight is being encouraged to download a new smartphone app designed to limit the
Ike, get involved, mate. You'll be loving this. Get there. Make sure you voluntarily use this app.
spread of the virus. The NHS COVID-19 app is being trialled on the island despite privacy concerns about centralised sharing of data. This morning, the Joint Committee on Human Rights published a report which raises significant concerns regarding surveillance and the impact on other human rights, which it believes must be addressed before the app is rolled out. Here's the chair of that committee, Labour MP Harriet Harman.
Well, this is an unprecedented gathering of people's personal data, and it's necessary to have this information so that the lockdown can be eased safely. But people won't sign up to this app unless they're confident that their data is being protected. And that confidence can be given if Parliament passes a new law to actually say what's going to be the purpose of this data gathering, to restrict any other use of the data, to define who can have access to the data and prohibit anybody else having access, and providing for it to be deleted at the end of this COVID crisis. We gave the government new powers on an emergency basis to deal with the COVID crisis. Now Parliament needs to pass a law to make new protections for people in the face of this unprecedented data gathering.
Harriet Harman. You're watching BBC News. Now, with no flights and
Just
the
don't
world in
participate
lockdown,
if
getting home to the UK seemed an impossible mission.
Makes
for
you feel
Lucy
weird
Brooke, who was stranded in the
participating.
Caribbean
I know I'm not going to.
Antigua.
I
Well,
don't
she's just
think.
got back after a rather unconventional journey. Lucy Vladev takes up the story.
22 days aboard a boat in a bid to get home. Lee Brooke has only sailed once before.
This is how we do it.
On the
Life on deck.
But when lockdown hit Antigua and tourists couldn't get much information about flights, Lee was offered a place on a 12-man racing boat called Telefonica Black.
The airport closed, a lot of people couldn't afford the flights, and so it then turned into a, right, how are we getting out of here kind of situation. I felt really lucky to be part of the crew and be accepted.
The 3,000-mile journey west to east across the Atlantic is one of the most challenging. There were moments of quiet calm for the crew.
Day number 5.
That would be a good way to spend lockdown, wouldn't it?
9-metre waves and had to struggle on with ripped sails.
We were hanging on to the wheel, trying to control the boat, and then one of the lines, the ropes, the lazy sheet, it torqued and tightened and hit me straight across the face, and bloodied my nose. It actually knocked me straight off the helm onto the deck.
Fortunately, the skipper is Lance Shepherd, a clipper round-the-world yacht racer and professional trainer for sailors, which came in handy when faced with a difficult decision.
We had to get the boat back into European waters by the 1st of May because of insurance restrictions with the hurricane season. and the clients that we had booked to fly out to Antigua to sail back with us couldn't get out because of the cancellation of flights. So we put a shout out for people. Every day was a teaching day, all about sail trim, sail handling and everything else, and developed the crew all the way across. And by the time we got the bad weather, they were well shaped into quite a formidable crew, to be honest.
And all that seawater has given Lee a taste for a new life.
I think he's created a sailing monster out of me, because I want to become a sailor now because of it. I really do.
Lucy
Just
Bladev, BBC
stay
News.
sailing until the lockdown's over.
Some
Eh?
look at the weather. We get that now from Thomas Shafanaka.
Thomas what? Shabanaka?
It's been a
What's
nice
this
day out
guy's
there
name?
today, and that's how it's going to stay.
Thomas
for the rest
Shavanaga.
of the day and into the evening hours. There is a chance of a few showers developing, though, in
Right,
one or
let's
two
see if
places,
I've
but
got
the
in-
vast majority of us will
What
miss them.
else?
And in fact, we've had
Had
a
a wee
little bit
look
of
at
rain
the-
already out towards the west and the southwest. These clouds
The
are
nurse, I
spiralling
wanted to touch
into
on the
this
nurse. What
area of
else
low
have I got
pressure
here?
that's parked just to the west of us. But the vast majority of the country, a fine, bright, if not sunny day. And
Fox
22
News
this afternoon in London,
Live.
and a pleasant
Republican
17 in the lowlands of
McCarthy
Scotland.
holds press
So here's
conference.
the evening weather. Watch out for the little blobs of blue, showers developing here, maybe
What's
across
this?
parts
Brit
of the
Girl,
Midlands, a few showers
May
there out
16th,
towards
Hyde
Scotland,
Park.
maybe Northern Ireland, and then towards the end of the night, the possibility of some rain reaching the far southwest of the country. But for most of us, it's a mild night with clear spells, but perhaps turning murky and cloudy out towards the west. And then Friday, the best of the sunshine will be out towards the east of England, East Anglia, the southeast, and along the south coast. But here, Cornwall, Devon, and parts of Wales, and then eventually the Midlands, maybe in the north, again, a few showers developing. A very warm day on Friday. These are June, July temperatures, 24 in London, a very pleasant, again, 18 in Glasgow. Now, through the weekend, we're going to see some big changes.
Number one, baby,
especially across
number
northern parts of the UK,
one.
at least initially. And a cold front stretching from Norway there across the sea into northern Scotland, out into the Atlantic Sea. The cold northerly winds blowing out of the Norwegian Sea, spreading across Scotland. This is cold Arctic air.
Hey folks, Fernando doing a video for the More Survivalists, and this is going to be a video about my EDC Coronavirus Edition. I already did one of these, and I don't even remember what I had in it, but pretty sure it's some.
I'm fighting the virus too, mate. I'm fighting the virus with
Something
you.
somewhat similar to this. So a few little adjustments here and there, adapting to the existing situation. Let's get started right away. First of all, the basics that anyone has when going out is your wallet, your cell phone. In my case, it's just a typical leather wallet with the pockets for the sleeves for the cards so that they don't fall off. So they go along in this direction, and maybe one of the little changes is, yes, I have some spare cash, I have a few coins there, but I really try to use the credit card because it is a lot less hassle, and it's a lot cleaner instead of taking someone's change, you know, dirty hands and such. So trying to keep contact to the minimum using cards instead. Then in terms of cell phone, I still have my good old LG G6, which has been working great, no reason to change it so far. And the little different strategy is I just keep it in one of my pockets, and when I go out, I don't take it out. I just leave it in the pocket, don't touch it, don't check any messages or anything, and just have it with me in case of emergencies. But it goes out once it's in the pocket. I don't touch it, I don't handle it, so as to not contaminate with anything, and get it out of the pocket as soon as I'm back home, wash my hands, and so on. You know, little changes that we make because of the pandemic. Then I have some nitrile gloves. These are quite, yeah, these are a little bit nicer than your latex gloves. Latex gloves are a little bit more fragile. Nitrile gloves are a little bit more puncture and tear resistant. So those are nice, and they don't have any of that dust or powder which some latex gloves have. I still have a couple boxes of latex gloves, but you know, using them only for you know, shorter periods of time. These are just better. And I don't like the powder because it kind of gets into everything, and especially with my gas mask, I don't want to have that powder getting into my filters, right? That is kind of one of the things that bother me about those latex gloves. In terms of mask, well, this is the one I'm wearing. It's a General Service Respirator GSR by Scott. It is definitely a nice mask. It's a little bit bulky, it seems, or a little bit, you know, seems like too much. But man, it is so much better than going around with these things. These are okay, you know, your typical 3M. This is actually better than your classic N95. This is rated as FFP3, which would be better than your N95. It's closer to an N100. But there's, even with a valve and everything, this one has a little valve there that for exhaling. This is just so much better. It just air flows a lot better. It's not getting, and I don't have to worry about having eye protection. It's all in the same mask, so it's protecting my eyes. It's of course protecting my my mouth and as I'm breathing in. And the airflow is fantastic. I've worn this in a previous pandemic with H1N1 in Buenos Aires, and I had something very similar to this one, and I used to take this to university, and it's just, it kind of sucks. I mean, it's okay, of course, a lot better than nothing, but learning over the years, yes, I got myself, I actually checked, and I got this one like 8 years ago now. So I've had this, I didn't just rush and buy it now, I've had it for, yes, 8 years, seemed to check in the pandemic in the video that I first did about the GSR. Man, I love the mask, it is just, the airflow's a lot better.
Yeah, that's how the survivalists do it, baby. Don't do things in halves. I mean, I think you should go the full Buna and get your hazmat suit out. Definitely should do the hazmat suit.
There's no fogging inside. It's well designed and very sturdy as well. The filters though are a little bit harder to get, but you can remove one of the adapters and use 40mm NATO canister filters. But of course, these are very nice as well. In terms of my keys, these are just the same keys as always. This is just my car keys and house keys. I have through night, and I'll leave the links for some of this stuff below, guys. I won't leave the link for the GSR because it's not available in Amazon, but I'll leave it for the other stuff. This is the Claros Mini 1T, which is a nice little flashlight, and the Victorinox Manager. This is like the compact version of the Mini Champ, which is one of my favorite little multi-tools. And I have here Phillips screwdriver, cap, a bottle opener, and wire stripper, a small blade, of course. And on the other side, we have little pair of scissors, which are handy, and like a nail file, which comes in handy as well every once in a while, and a flat screwdriver, and tweezers, and a little pen, which, yes, I pretty much use all of this stuff here. I like the Manager a lot. It's a nice little multi-tool. And that's it. As you see, I don't have my favorite tool, which is...
He's got the same one as me, like... My nice Templar, Deep State Illuminati, Swiss Army knife, famous. Who'd have funked at somebody else in the world that had a Swiss Army knife? I thought they were quite unique things, you know?
Is my...
Hold on, I've got a wee quick update for us all.
Give a message to the cricket team. Can you jump? Stand, take the stand up. Oh, you just got wrong. You got your mic on. Alright, that's harassment. Come again.
He's just trying to run in circles. Oh man, that wee guy's going to be a legend. Oh, brilliant, man, brilliant. Oh god, what's this autoplay bull crap? Get away from me, Anyway, let's get back to Swiss Army
Learman charge. Reasons? Well, I just didn't take it I just didn't take it with me today, and just keeping this honest. Why did I was looking to take maybe my Wingman instead, or some other Leatherman. I just didn't want to have my charge, which I use around the house often, and I didn't want to have to disinfect it. So I just didn't get around to take a multi-tool with me, but man, I'm just getting into the car, driving to the store, buying a few things, heading back home. Still, I do want to have a flashlight with me because I think it's crucial, it's an essential part of your EDC. Again, links for all of this stuff below. This is a pretty cool flashlight, the ThruNite TC15. I recently reviewed, it was sent to me by the good folks over at ThruNite, and yeah, I mean, I'm liking it. And the reason why I'm going with this one, besides, you know, testing it because it was sent for that, but
I'm liking it. It's like
my
got a light
take
on
is
it,
I want to have something a little bit better, a little bit sturdier, and a little bit more powerful, giving everything going on. Every once in a while, I like to check out around the house and have a little bit stronger light. And this is definitely that. It is not super big. It's a little bit bulkier than the one I usually will have as my EDC light, but you have a lot more power. This is like 200 something lumens, almost like 3,000 lumens. I think it's 2,500 lumens. I don't know, I don't remember exactly, but it is definitely more powerful, and you have a reflector that gives you a lot more throw, and you have a power indicator as well. So it's, yeah, it's more of a heavy duty type of light. And finally, in terms of my pocket knife, I'm going with a more utilitarian Tanto half serrated, half straight edge. Yes, more of a utilitarian, practical a pocket knife. Still very sturdy, still very handy, of course. Cold Steel makes some good stuff, and in my opinion, the Voyager series is one of their best series. Again, if I find it, I'll leave the link for that as well. Folks, if you're interested in my take of survival and preparedness, this sort of thing, remember that there's always my books available in Amazon, especially regarding this sort of stuff in street survival skills. I do address it quite thoroughly in terms of gear and talking specifically about everyday carry, what you should have, why that is, the reason for all of this. Yes, it's covered into quite a bit of detail. Even I even go into kind of like the clothes you wear and such. For example, the clothes I was wearing today, there's a logic to it. I went with hiking pants that are synthetic fiber. That means it's less absorbent. It's easier to throw into the washing machine and just wash it. It's not going to be absorbing as much as, say, for example, jeans. And on top, I would have my windbreaker with a hood covering my head and as much as possible. That's all part of the philosophy that I go for. So this is going to be available in Amazon as well. Link there too for you folks. Take care, guys. Have an awesome day. Remember to subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell button to get any future updates. And follow me on Instagram. It's Fairfile308. Leaving the link there too in case you want to check it out. Folks, have a great day. See you on our next video.
Now to the cooking. Winner, winner. Farm Foods in Iceland dinner. I wonder how much Farm Foods in Iceland paid for that. Channel 4. I'm not saying it's not true, I'm just saying there's money behind it. The deep state Illuminati trying to get you to buy vegetables. Right. Now, change segments. This is our real life Bond villain, Bond good guy, depend how you look at him segment. Modern day politics.
Meantime, let's bring in Texas Congressman Dan Crenshaw, former Navy SEAL, author.
Yeah, Navy SEAL, got a fucking eye patch. He looks like fucking. Oh, how cool does this guy look? You know, I would just wish he had like half a bionic arm, you know? It'd be even cooler if he had. I've seen this guy in Joe Rogan. I was like, you're a what? You look like a Bond villain.
Of the book Fortitude, American Resilience.
Oh, he's selling you a book as well.
Of outrage. He joins us from his location. Congressman, because you are representing a district in Texas, wanted to ask you about Shelley Luther, that salon owner who said, look, I got to reopen. I know I can't open right now, but I got to do it because I got to put food on the table. She was held in contempt, or rather, she was issued a cease and desist order. She tore it up famously at a public demonstration, and then in front of the judge says, you want to apologize? She said no. Listen to this.
I have to disagree with you, sir, when you say that I'm selfish, because feeding my kids is not selfish. I have hairstylists that are going hungry. because they'd rather feed their kids. So, sir, if you think the law is more important than kids getting fed, then please go ahead with your decision, but I'm not going to shut the salon.
Congressman, it seems like what every parent...
Seems like I'm going to have to try and find a sailing crew going from Britain to over to America to get my fucking haircut. All the way to Texas. All that way just to pick up a haggis. Yeah, actually get my haircut, mate.
would do. I mean,
a full-blown mullet by the end of this lockdown.
Ultimately, you need to feed your children. We do know that a GoFundMe page has been started, and over $500,000 has been raised for her so far. Your thoughts on this?
Yeah, you know, these so-called leaders and these so-called judges across the country, you know, arresting moms and dads.
Bionic,
and of course,
the
she's not
Bionic
the only
Man,
case.
or
the dad was arrested in Colorado for playing.
Does it look like a G.I. Joe bad man or something? You know, I'm trying to
catch with his daughter, a paddleboarder who was paddleboarding alone in the ocean, was chased down by police boats in California. Guy in Florida had to be sent to court because he was trying to sell takeout out of his restaurant. This is happening over and over. And these so-called leaders, these so-called judges, they need to take a civics lesson. Okay, these laws will not be respected if they are not respectable laws. People are not dumb. They can understand and they can assess whether a law makes sense, whether it's really based on data and public health. And a lot of these things aren't, right? We've seen a lot of rules being passed that simply don't make sense. And then they go further. Then they want to actually punish you. They want to use the full force of the law, fine you, throw you in jail, arrest you, take away your freedom just because you're engaging in activity that was previously perfectly legal. Okay, engaging in a voluntary transaction with another human being has long been a legal and perfectly okay activity. And to all of a sudden make it illegal and then use the full force of the law to enforce it, that goes against our very basic values. Listen, I'm all for the guidelines, okay? But the government has to use the lightest touch possible. And these so-called leaders are not doing that. They are infringing on people's freedoms, all while, by the way, advocating to allow other criminals who have previously been in jail to be released. So it's contradictory in that sense too, and it's in complete contradiction to our Constitution and our way of life and what our society is founded upon.
Yeehaw! Rootin' and tootin'.
I mean, I'll give you an example. Why can't you go to a car wash? Why can't a jewelry store open up on Mother's Day a few days before in order to maybe sustain their business? Why can the liquor store be open? And why can I go to a supermarket, but I can't go to a sports store? Why do they expect people to really think that's rationalized behavior?
Because without food, people will die. But without sweatbands, people won't have sweatbands, socks, sports socks, footballs, jock straps. Oh, hold on, I need to get Spock out for this one. Yo, Spock, you still about, mate? No spoke to you in a while, man. How's Trix? You still alive?
Affirmative.
Oh.
Affirmative.
That's good, Spock. I'm glad you're still kicking about, mate. What do you think of this corona shit?
Fascinating.
I know it is. Right, let's get battered into this guy with the... Let's get into... What am I looking for? G.I. Joe. What did we have over here? We didn't have G.I. Joe. It was something like Action Man or some shit. No, Action Man was over in America as well. We had we didn't have G.I. Joe. It was something else. Can't remember.
Why do they think I can't walk on the beach or get this, sit on the beach? How dare I sit on the beach? I could get a fine if I sit and sunbathe on the beach as opposed to sit on my couch, where 66% of the people who have been hospitalized in New York were people who are sheltered in place. Dan, we're not stupid.
Because they're drunk on power.
This is not
they're
working.
Drunk on power. They think we're stupid. They think we're stupid, and they're drunk on power. And this is why you're seeing people rise up. Americans are sick of it. They have a sense of injustice. They have a sense that these so-called leaders
rise up. I think he's getting what's happening mixed up with Thriller. You know, or the dead corona pilots like that. Rising up.
These so-called judges, they have a sense that they're not actually implementing the law, because these aren't laws, right? These are executive orders. They have a sense that they're not really implementing justice as we understand it as a culture and as a society. We know that they're doing the wrong thing, and we have to call them out for it.
Okay, so Dan, or Congressman, I know the House is thinking about drafting a new relief bill. Nancy Pelosi's talked about it being $1 trillion to help healthcare workers, first responders, postal workers, and teachers. What do the Republicans think about this? And how much do you think this? Will there be another relief bill?
Obviously, the Republicans hate everything the opposite side does, regardless if it's a good idea or not.
The way we need to assess future relief bills is one problem at a time with one solution at a time. We could have been in Congress, in the House, working this whole time. Nancy Pelosi wants the American people to believe that we're only allowed to go and work once every 3 weeks and pass multi-trillion-dollar bills. Okay, so here's their playbook. They want you to stay locked down, all right, and they'll arrest you if you don't abide. They don't want you to have your job anymore. They want to wait for these industries to fail so there's no jobs to go back to, and then they want to act like these benevolent rulers and offer you money. Well, whose money is that? It's your money. And it's especially your kids' money, because one day that has to be paid back, and it's going to be your kids' taxes that have to be raised. Okay? And then in 2020, in the 2020 elections, the Democrats are going to come back and say, look how generous we were with your money. That's their playbook. And we have to wake up to this. This is not responsible governance. There isn't some unlimited amount of money to be spending, especially to bail out states that have been terrible with their...
Oh my God, I can't believe what I'm hearing here. Here's another one of Big Joe, who's the Joe the Toe? What's his name? Big Toe Joe Rogan. One of his guests. I'd never seen this the Bond villain congressman for Texas before, and I was introduced to him on Joe Rogan, and there were, again, left of centre politics, the liberal Joe Rogan, inviting every right-wing, new, upcoming, far-right conservative politician on his show, as you do. You know, when you are opposed to these points of view, you always sort of invite them on the biggest podcast in the world, allow them to project into millions of people's heads worldwide. You know, makes perfect sense, and just sit and go, gee golly gosh, Batman, I didn't know that putting someone on the biggest podcast in the world would allow them to influence people. Gee golly gosh, Batman, I had no idea. I'm just earning millions of dollars a year from advertisers for doing the exact same thing. But I had no idea that you could advertise a political ideology, stance, talking point the exact same way you can boner pills or flashlight vagina. Apparently that's what Joe Rogan advertised back in the day in his podcast. It's like one of those fake fannies. Oh, I can't see the... Why not just use your hand? I don't know.
With their fiscal responsibility this entire time. Okay, if you're a member of Congress from Texas, I don't see how you want to use Texan federal tax dollars that we are paying to bail out other states that have been totally irresponsible with their finances all of this time. That's the kind of stuff that's going to be put into this. It's going to be enormous. It's not how we should be governing. It has to be discrete solutions for discrete problems. That would be the responsible thing to do. Honest debate in the House. That's what we should be doing. Right. We have taken perfectly safe measures in order to do that.
Congressman, speaking of responsible, a lot of people have been wondering, were responsible things being done behind the scenes at the Department of Justice and the FBI to forward the Russia investigation? And ultimately, we found out a little more yesterday when the Department of Justice released once again, a redacted version of one of the scope memos that Rod Rosenstein had given to Robert Mueller regarding what he could look to. And among other things, part of the scope memo from August...
God almighty. That guy spoke to him regarding a memo of the up to down bit of what he could have spoke to. I got to love this accurate layman's terms reporting.
2017 said, look for any links and or coordination between the Russian government and individuals associated with the campaign of President Donald Trump and Secondly, any matters that arose or may arise directly from that investigation. There were 4 names on it: Carter Page, Paul Manafort, George Papadopoulos, and Michael Flynn. And to a lot of people, they wanted to know what the scope was. You know, how broad was his authority? It seems like it was quite broad because some things panned out and a lot of stuff did not.
Respect my authority.
Right, and here's the best way to summarize what's actually going on here. This was an investigation in search of a crime. And that should terrify Americans. And the more we find out about this entire probe, this entire narrative that was spun for years, tricking the American people into thinking that their president was some Russian puppet, what were they really doing? They had an idea, they had a...
Kind of similar the way that the Trump train tricked the American electorate into thinking Hillary Clinton was more of a crook, more of a criminal than other politicians, including Donald Trump. You know, so please get what I'm saying here. I'm not saying Hillary Clinton isn't a criminal. I'm saying part of Donald Trump's strategy was to paint her as being on death's door. Did they paint her as senile or something as well? It was like, look, all the wee montages of her acting crazy and shit. Then Bill Clinton is a rapist, which is a under the table slam at Hillary Clinton in the run up to a election. Now, I don't know if Bill Clinton is a rapist or not, but what I do know is if somebody's constantly in your ear going, Bill Clinton's a rapist, Bill Clinton's a rapist, Bill Clinton's a rapist, in the run up to an election where Bill Clinton's wife was running, it's a political strategy. It's a political smear in the run up to an election. It's not new. It's not even that hard to see through. Just the exact. Look, I've got a new. Oh no, this is the wrong. I'm in the wrong browser, Batman. Anyway, next Tuesday I've got a new wee topic I'll be talking about, and it's called Sleepy Joe, and it's again all these independent journalists independently at the one time, independently hitting YouTube independently with a bukkake of Sleepy Joe. Look at him, mental, crazy old bastard. Look at him here, Creepy Joe, pervert, pedo, this, everything. In the run-up to an election where he's facing off against Donald Trump. It's the exact same political strategy. One of the exact same political strategy, electioneering tactics that Donald Trump used 4 years ago. Anyway, let's get back to action, man.
A conclusion, they had a crime that they wanted to prove, and they gave themselves the power to try and prove it. This is a horrible precedent to set. Okay, it goes against, again, every foundation we have in jurisprudence, in law, in due process. But this is what they were doing, and it's added on top of the FISA warrant abuse. It's added on top of what we just found out about General Flynn and how the FBI tried to ambush him. You know, it's added on top of what we now know about the Steele dossier and how that was actually used as supposed evidence to investigate these supposed crimes. It should really terrify Americans, and I hope more people realize this. Remember, you were dragged by the media through this crazy narrative, this crazy roller coaster for years, and it was all a house of cards. None of it, it turns out, none of it was true. And who did this? It was all politically biased. It was all confirmation biased from these DOJ officials from the Obama administration because they hated Trump so badly.
It's the left blaming the right as the right blames the left. The red car and the blue car had a race. And all he wanted to do was look cool with his eye patch.
They thought that they were exerting some kind of justice against this man, but in the end, they were the ones breaking the law and breaking our trust.
And Dan, in reading your book, Fortitude, you talk about the band of brothers, the way you guys look out for each other. And I'm wondering how you feel about the FBI sticking together. We're seeing this terrible behavior. We're hearing behind the scenes the FBI is embarrassed by.
Do you want to hear a cool story? Do you want to hear a real cool story? Do you know how this war, this military veteran Marine lost his eye? He tripped up while he was walking the dog and he fell in a stick.
Riot, McCabe and Strzok and Page and Comey, the way they acted from the 7th floor as opposed to the way that it's really run in the bureaus. Why haven't there been FBI whistleblowers, do you think? And does it go to the same mindset that you guys have in the Special Forces?
Yeah. I don't know. You know, I've never been part of the FBI. I do know a lot of FBI agents that are really, really great people. So I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, just like in the SEAL team, sometimes we get bad apples and they embarrass the entire community. The best thing you can do in that case is disown the bad apples, because in the end, you have to protect the integrity of the institution. The FBI is an important institution.
But there's no whistleblowers.
I know.
Why aren't the FBI upset at the FBI?
They should be. I mean, I'm agreeing with you. They should be.
Because they're deep state Illuminati.
And I wish I could tell you more. I just can't. I think they need to man up and actually get rid of some of these bad actors who have clearly shown political bias and clearly shown confirmation bias and completely thrown away due process and rule of law in order to do it.
Yep. All right.
He's undercover now. Look.
Thank you for being here.
No, thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Oh, he's undercover there for a wee bit. He's cocknose. Anywho, aye, let's see if we get anything else. Time's at nearly 4 o'clock. Can find something else to do. Okie doke. See what else I've got in my email bullcrap. Newsnight talking about the deaths from the care homes. When the figures from that come in, it's going to make the total death toll look a hell of a lot more sobering. And God, it's more people holding Brian Harvey in court. The court of their mind. Right, that's me actually. Right, I've done nothing else for it. BBC.
Afternoon. Bringing devastation to jobs and incomes, the Bank of England warns the coronavirus pandemic will push the UK towards its deepest recession on record.
Wow.
The Cabinet meets to discuss easing the lockdown, but we'll have to wait until Sunday evening to find out how the Prime Minister intends to do it. No easing of the lockdown in Scotland for now. The First Minister says to do so would be very, very risky indeed. Protecting nothing. The shipment of 400,000 PPE gowns from Turkey, which was flown here by the RAF, is impounded in a warehouse after failing UK standards.
25-4,
Not the
Carletta.
celebration they'd planned, but under lockdown, Britain prepares to mark tomorrow's 75th anniversary of VE Day.
Doot, doot, doot.
The coronavirus contact tracing app being trialled on the Isle of Wight has gone live to the general public today. The mobile phone app anonymously warns users if they've been near to another person with the app who reports having COVID-19 symptoms. Much hope is being placed in the technology's ability to help bring the country out of lockdown, but island residents have some mixed feelings towards it, as Duncan Kennedy reports.
We go to David Icke.
The moment you leave the ferry and pass through the towns and countryside that make up the Isle of Wight, you can see why its self-contained cross-section of life makes it the ideal place to test the new NHS COVID-19 app. And Derek Sandy is one of the first members of the general public to download it. Derek is a singer by profession, but has also become a cultural ambassador for the island. He says it takes just a few seconds to put the app
David
onto
Icke will hate that, man. A black man and fucking cultural icon for his island.
The community.
It's really, really important for everyone who has
These
who has
voodoo
access,
beats.
You know, to download the app. Again, it can save your life, your father's life, your mother, your sister, your brother's life.
The new app is being offered to the 80,000 households on the island.
Right, let's... Now, the version of what that app is doing is follows, Carletta. If it's doing what it says on the tin, you have to download the app and turn your Bluetooth on. Then your Bluetooth app will be looking for the app running in other phones that have got Bluetooth. I don't know the distance Bluetooth works. Is it like 10 meters, 15 meters? Might even be 20 meters. It's no more than that. Then your phone will give you an alert if you've been in contact with anybody who has the app and Bluetooth on that has had to manually input into their app that they have been tested for the virus and it's came back positive. Then what would happen is your app would go, boom, you've touched base with somebody that's got the app. So you should isolate yourself. Now, this is the argument. The reason this is getting used to release lockdown is it means that you would only then lock down and isolate people who had been in contact with the virus rather than the whole populace. So again, Spock, if what they say is true, and does that make sense logically? Oh, hold on. Oh no, I've got hundreds of illogicals, but where's its logic?
Without facts, the decision cannot be made logically. You must rely on your human intuition.
No! Logic, Spock! Where's your Spock? Where's Spock?
Yep. Raw.
No, hooray.
And I believe it's pronounced tally-ho.
Tally-ho! God, what is this? Alright, aye. Right, so Spock, does that make sense logically?
I speak from pure logic.
This is good as it's going to get.
Evil does seek to maintain power by suppressing the truth.
Go all Jim Dowson on me. But logically speaking, it does make sense, doesn't it? Right, let's say the app isn't the deep state Illuminati trying to RFID chip us by using our already existent tracker and tracers. They're not trying to they're not telling people to buy a smartphone, they're saying people with smartphones, if you want to participate. I think they've done the numbers, they need 80% of people with smartphones to participate for this to have the desired effect. So, look, I've already said that I wouldn't be participating because I still believe in deep state Illuminati could get this data and misuse it. But I'm not shutting down the path of logic that people are using to argue for this, if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm making sense. Anyway, so Carletta, it's not they're not using your GPS. They're not using your the data's anonymous until it flags up and then you're asked to report it. Everything's anonymous. It's on your phone using Bluetooth in the app until you get an alert saying that you've been in touch with somebody, you've been in the same vicinity as somebody with the virus. So, now, not only does it make sense logically, it's been proven to work practically. And I would point to North Korea. Not North Korea, South Korea. Keep making that mistake. And the how they used contact tracing. Pretty much a high percentage of their population participated and allowed them to, without a mass lockdown, it allowed them to flatten the curve, if you want to steal the government's
From
lingo.
today. It works by collecting random identities of other nearby app users and the time and distance they are from each other. If one of those is feeling ill, they upload their symptoms and data to the NHS server. That data is then analysed, and any one of those people at risk is sent a message advising them to self-isolate. Tricia and Graham are neighbours in the town of Ryde. Both have now downloaded the app and intend to use it.
Now, let's say it works as they say it works there. At no point in this is there any GPS or tracking information, you know. It's contact tracking. You know, so it's tracking when people get in contact with each other, not where or when, I'm led to believe. And I'm pretty sure that when this app gets rolled out, maybe I'm speaking crap here, right? I don't really know because I'm not a computer. I'm not Bill Gates. I'm not a computer software engineer. But like what has happened before, when there's new apps and all that go out, people that know how computers work can go and look at the code and what's in it and how it operates, so on and so forth. I think apps are pretty simple to do that, I do believe. So if it was like collecting your GPS data and stuff, people maybe would be able to see that in the source code or the code of the app as well. But I don't have a clue what I'm talking about with regards to that.
What have you got to lose? You're carrying your phone around with you 24 hours a day, most people anyway, so it takes 3 or 4 seconds to download it. What's the problem with that?
It looks good, it's simple to download. If it prevents deaths, then download it and use it, and use the Isle of Wight as a testing ground.
The release of this app today is all about testing the technology. Does it work?
I think he looks like a fish. Chinless wonder.
Of users, and then
Fish.
crucially, can it trace them across entire communities? And there are still concerns about data protection for users. Today, a cross-party group of MPs and peers said the public must be satisfied their privacy is guaranteed.
People won't sign up to this app unless they're confident that their data is being protected.
That's why I'm not signing up. That's why I'm not signing up.
New law to actually say what's going to be the purpose of this data gathering.
The island is a test bed for a new...
So I'm just, if anybody calls me a traitor or whatever for not doing this app later on, I'm taking Harriet Harman's advice. I don't trust the government with lots of stuff, never mind data, and not losing it and not mucking it up, or just straight on out selling you out to the deep state Illuminati.
App that works by linking smartphones through a kind of digital handshake. The government hopes it'll be a key part of a programme of measures against
I love the way they dumb it down. A
On
digital handshake.
BBC News,
Bluetooth
on the Isle of
speaking to Bluetooth.
Just hearing that the Notting Hill Carnival has been cancelled.
No shit, Sherlock, fuck's sake.
Carnival Limited, like all events around the world.
What were they going to do? Put masks on their genitalia as they fucking rubbed it all over each other?
And after lengthy consultations, the board
Helicopter
has taken
City.
this year's carnival will not take place on the streets of Notting Hill as it has done for the last 50 years. It also means that Panorama, that's the annual steel band competition, will also not take place. They say it's not been an easy decision to make, but everyone's health must come first. They also don't wish to place extra strain on the St John Ambulance and the NHS. They say we will work very closely and want to express our utmost respect, admiration and gratitude for their work. And they say we are still at the early stages of planning for Notting Hill Carnival 2020 in its temporary form. So not necessarily cancelled, but certainly a much reduced Notting Hill Carnival being looked at over the August bank holiday weekend. So we'll, any more from them, we'll let you know. The number of people held in immigration detention centres has dropped by 2/3 during the coronavirus lockdown. That leaves some facilities practically empty. Figures shared with the BBC show that 738 foreign nationals were released between March the 16th and April the 21st as the government rushed to answer concerns about the spread of infection. Around 50 people are believed to have been deported over the same period. John Ironmonger reports.
You might not have been given notice about
You're breaking lockdown to give me sales calls.
Without warning, guards arrived to deport a vulnerable woman who fled abuse in Nigeria. She panics and is pinned to the floor for several minutes.
I can't understand your thick Indian accent, pal.
Nationals facing removal from the UK has prompted calls for detention centres like Yarlswood to close.
Well, you've got an
Now,
accent, I don't.
Many are nearly empty.
I didn't say there's anything wrong with I didn't.
Hello, it's John. Are you okay? Yes. The threat of coronavirus has cleared them out.
You're not here to sell me anything that's about my car accident.
I think 2 or 3 is in quarantine.
No, I'm asking you. You're not selling anything. You're asking me about my car accident. What car accident?
A car accident which happened last year.
Well, I have so many car accidents. You need to be a bit more specific.
Yep. In 15th October 2019.
Are you from Kazakhstan or India? I can't figure out if you've got a touch of the Borats about you.
I'm from Colombia.
Colombia?
Yeah.
And are you sitting in the UK?
Yeah. It's about 1 year.
You've been in the UK 1 year?
Yeah.
And your call centre's in Glasgow?
Sorry?
Your call centre operates in Glasgow?
No, our office is in Glasgow, but nowadays it's closed because of the lockdown. We're working from home.
You're working from home?
Yeah.
Why can I hear people speaking on other calls in the background?
No, they are my family members. They are not speaking on the phone. They're speaking to each other.
So, and you... Hold on. Be quiet a second, because I want to listen to the people in the background, because this is funny.
No, let's get to the business,
Sam. Fucking sitting there, fucking... Oh, wallopers like that.
In detention were foreign national offenders, and that it was right to protect the public from dangerous criminals. But with so few detainees, these drafty buildings will get harder to defend. John Ironmonger, BBC News.
Bright, if you want to phone me on that phone number, use WhatsApp. The number has been discontinued, but it still functions on WhatsApp. So go into WhatsApp and WhatsApp me on that number. But Bright, I don't know what you want to speak to me about on the phone, mate. I get no answers to nothing.
The third week, it was going that I just couldn't cope with the pain anymore. It's literally immoral. Like, how can you do that?
Patients are in pain and facing some very limited options.
It would just be removing the front tooth. So it would be living until, I don't know, end of July, August without a tooth, which isn't great. I've been told more antibiotics or a tooth out, and both those options aren't feasible for me because I don't want to lose my front tooth, you know, and it's like, I feel like we're just going back in time with dentistry.
Protective equipment's vital, working up close with procedures that create airborne particles. The Health Minister has now admitted there were delays, and some centres still have issues more than 6 weeks after regular dentistry was put on hold.
We're here.
A fortnight ago, we met Mike, who was at work but only giving telephone advice.
Aye, that was funny, man. Do you want me to phone him back? That's what we'll do. Phone him back. Be more entertaining than the BBC, innit?
Thanks for returning the call. Claims Friday. How can I help?
Hello. Hi.
This is Daniel Morris from Claims Friday, UK. Actually, we have been trying to get in touch with you with regards to the car accident that you were involved in.
Yeah, I know we must have got cut off or something, you know. I was trying to listen to the call centre in the background while you were pretending you were phoning from home.
Well, actually, we are not here to selling anything to you. It's not marketing call, right?
Okay, I'm interested to hear about my car accident as well, but I was just in these lockdown times, you know, it was just interesting that I could hear, you know, like a call centre in the background, and I was wondering if it was some sort of a illegal operation?
Yes, sir. No worries. Thank you.
No, I was just wondering why you're pretending to be in your bedroom when I can clearly hear that you're in a call centre.
Right, so yeah, actually we are calling you from Claims Direct UK. We are calling you from home, sir.
Claims Direct. Yeah, I know you're calling me from Claims Direct, but you said that you're calling me from home. But I can hear people making other sales calls. I mean, other calls to people about their car accidents.
Right, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I can understand your frustration, what you say, right? So that's why I'm telling you, we are not here to selling anything. It's not marketing.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm not here to buy anything.
Right, listen, Mr. Austin.
Okay.
Right, we have some cold calls and scam calls too, asking you bank details, selling anything too. They can asking you money, right? So we helping the people. We give them money, right? We are not asking money. Give money.
So are you, what you're saying is, are you
selling anything?
So what you're saying is you're wanting me to make up a fake car accident?
Yes, if the car accident was not your fault, as the victim party, the other driver, you're entitled to get compensation that comes from the third party insurance.
Yeah, I know, but what I'm saying though is for me to get compensation, I would need to make up a car accident. This is what I'm saying to you. I'm still confused as to why you're sitting in a call centre saying that you're working from home as well. But let's just brush over that because I don't think you're going to answer that one. But I'm also confused. So you're wanting me to make up a car accident?
Yes, so no worries. Well, actually, we have received the basic details from MIB.
From the Men in Black?
Somebody from on your vehicle.
Did you just tell me you got the details from Will Smith? Men in Black.
MIB, sir, motor insurance, beware.
The MIB, the Men in Black have got my details. See, I'm just watching the BBC now, right, and they're talking about their contact tracing and stuff, and there we've got the deep state. Mate, is this another Is this trying to get my details? Is the Men in Black been spying on me?
What's the Men in Black?
You just said you got my details about a car accident that doesn't exist from the MIB.
What's the meaning of MIB?
Men in Black. It's the secret government organisation that deals with aliens.
I'm talking to you respectfully. You respect yourself, okay?
I'm respecting myself before I wreck myself. Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Listen to me. Just a second. Listen to me.
Calm down there, Carlos.
Get out of the line.
That's that South American. That's that South American passion. Get off the line.
Thank you for calling. Darren Smith speaking. How can I help you?
Hi there. I'm just calling back because I'm still confused as to why you're phoning me about a non-existent car thing. I want to know how you got my details. See, I was wearing my burqa when I was in that car accident, and as far as I was aware, I get away with that. And now you're telling me that MIB has got my details. I knew we were getting spied on, but I didn't know how big the conspiracy really was.
It was one of my colleagues trying to talk to you, Mr. Hostin. As per our record, it's showing up that everything with regards to your car damages and the liability has already been taken care of. It's already been dealt with, right? But we have been appointed on behalf of MIB Motor Insurance Database. As per the location, we have what has been set aside for you. That is categorized under a C category of payment. And that is because, as you have already mentioned to the insurance company, that you did not take any medical after the accident, right?
Well, this is the thing, Carlos. Are you wanting me to make up a fake car accident? I don't know of the scam here. No, I know you're not selling me anything. You're trying to get me compensation, but I'm trying to figure out how I can get compensation for my car accident when I thought I was wearing my burqa, so nobody knew it was me. But now you're telling me that MIB gave you my details about a car accident that I was hiding my identity in, and I'm now terrified that the deep state Illuminati has some way microchipped me. And just on top of that, Carlos, it's the coronavirus out there, and they want to track and trace me. Can you not understand my concerns?
Right, no worries. If that is the case, I'll show you a bit of my information, Mr. Hostin. No worries.
Thank you, Carlos. Have a good day, Carlos, and don't watch out for those men in black.
Yeah.
Cheerio, Carlos. Ah. Oh. Man, that wasn't it. That should have stuck today.
Blood in my nose, it actually knocked me straight off the helm onto the deck.
Hey, mate, can I get one in the way bag? I need to go over to the States for a haircut. No, Texas. I need to get dropped. Can you drop me off at Texas for a haircut, mate?
Faced with a difficult decision.
We had to get the boat back into European waters by the 1st of May because of insurance restrictions with the hurricane season.
Texas don't give a crap about restrictions. They're out licking doorknobs and
sail back with us. Couldn't get out because of the
playing with
cancellation
traffic.
of flights. So we put a shout out for people. Every day was a teaching day, all about sail trim, sail handling and everything else, and developed the crew all the way across. And by the time we got the bad weather, they were well shaped into quite a formidable crew, to be honest.
And all that seawater has given Lee a taste for a new life.
I think he's created a sailing monster out of me because I want to become a sailor now because of it. I really do.
Lucy Vladev, BBC News.
Tomorrow marks 75 years since VE Day, the day victory in Europe was secured. John Maguire has been to meet 97-year-old Audrey Gerrans, who worked in munitions factories and married her sweetheart, Joe, a soldier, during the war.
Darling, please be careful of those flying bombs. I'm so worried about you.
I know what we'll do, right?
Everything is okay with me, dear.
Let's go and have a wee look at the different
Unless you
side of the argument,
wrap you up in a neat little parcel, label it with utmost care, and send it to me, urgent.
My dearest Joe, I heard one of your songs on the radio at lunchtime. I remember when you used to sing it to me and sometimes play it on the gramophone at home and we danced together, darling.
I was going to say, have they been kicked off YouTube, RT, but I don't think so.
The words of love-struck newlyweds.
Get your pet food here, pet food there!
The world live from central London, this is RT UK. The Home Nations battle it out over when to ease lockdown measures as the Scottish First Minister claims her country won't be coerced by Westminster.
Well, we're number one, baby, so we can do what we want. We're killing people more than England and Wales. Number one.
Whistleblowers in British care homes claim the situation is like a war zone, with PPE shortages, unsafe conditions and companies ignoring concerns. We hear from the founder of Compassion in Care, who collated the whistleblowers' claims. India begins repatriating its citizens as many Indian students stranded in the UK go hungry, with universities shut and jobs scarce. Also this hour, just 1 in 3 hospitality companies expect all their venues to reopen after the pandemic. I'll be joined by the Chief Executive of Campaign for Real Ale.
Funny, it just looks like talking points to attack the government rather than news, you know. Hey ho, let's have a listen.
The devolved British governments are divided over how to ease lockdown restrictions, with the Scottish First Minister saying she will not be pressured by Westminster. It comes ahead of the Prime Minister's address to the nation on Sunday, where he's expected to unveil the country's exit strategy, as he sees it, at least. RTK's Issa Ali joins me with all the latest on this. Issa, it appears that the home nations are at loggerheads.
Absolutely. We've seen all throughout this coronavirus crisis a real difference in approach between the countries of the United Kingdom, with, for example, Scotland being the first to publish their exit plan roadmap out of lockdown measures. But when it comes to actually lifting those measures, they also don't see eye to eye. The leaders of the different devolved nations were or are to have a phone call today. Nicola Sturgeon saying that her country won't be lifting.
Relax. Says, say yes to vaccines. I would say yes to individuals' choice of opting in or out of a vaccine. You know, it's like, it's It's the principle of not forcing people to do stuff they don't want to, rather than falling off into ideological polarisation of vaccines are all killing you, or vaccines are the way to go, you know? Surely it would be about freedom to choose without Alex Jones, David Icke, UK column choosing for you. But hey-ho.
Lifting their lockdown measures anytime soon. In fact, they're looking to extend them by a further 3 weeks.
It is my preference, if possible, for all 4 UK nations to make changes together at the same pace, because that certainly helps us give clear, consistent messages to you, the public.
But screw that.
For that.
But screw that. Fuck you, Bobo. We're going to politicise this. Sturgeon gambling on a wee second, what do they call it, second wave happening in England, not in Scotland, to making her look good.
Approach to work, we must agree to make changes only when all 4 governments are satisfied that they don't risk a resurgence of the virus. And again, let me be clear, if the Prime Minister decides that he wants to move at a faster pace for England than I consider is right for Scotland, that is of course his right. I will respect that and I will not criticise him for doing that.
Exactly, relax. Some people aren't able to make sound choices, and just like the Manchester police tweeted out, social networking is great fun, but there's scumbags out there trying to take advantage of vulnerable people during this time of great fear for people. And both the pro and anti-vax religious militant mobs are trying to shove their message down your throat.
But I hope you understand, and indeed I hope you agree, that I must make judgments informed by the evidence that are right and safe for Scotland. I will not be pressured into lifting restrictions prematurely before I am as certain as I can be that we will not be risking a resurgence of infection rates.
Nicola Sturgeon saying she won't be pressured into making decisions that she feels are against her country's interests, and that type of sentiment shared by the Welsh Government too, stressing that the decision is theirs to make. Of course, issues to do with public health are part of devolved powers. We're also expecting the Northern Ireland Executive to meet and to discuss their own measures regarding the end to lockdown.
Anissa, how does the Prime Minister think the lockdown will be lifted?
I thought it was James Goddard there for a second.
To address the country on Sunday in a rare speech to the nation, and he's going to perhaps give us a better idea as to the way out of the lockdown. Now we can have a look at some of the potential suggestions or some of those.
That's very true, Maria. There is always mofos trying to scam vulnerable people even before COVID-19.
Of what changes are made, also including measures for people to be encouraged to wear face masks, and also, for example, having hand sanitizers placed on platforms, on public transport platforms. Also, the government could allow unlimited exercise outdoors. We know that thus far people are allowed out once a day for daily exercise. There are also suggestions of garden centres reopening and people being allowed to sunbathe in parks, as well as employees going back to their offices. Also, potentially by the end of May or around the beginning of June, primary school children could be allowed to return back to work, beginning with, or to return back to school, beginning with Year 6 students, which would help ease their transition into high school. As for secondary school students, they too could see schools reopening. We could also see the public being
similar
allowed to
the thing I was
in small
showing
team
the other night,
sports, and also potentially cafes being allowed to reopen if they have outdoor seating. But
who cares? That's a cracker. Nicola Sturgeon does need to make sure things are fan-dabby-dozy before she even considers reopening things.
Social distancing rules, while in October we could see Premier League football restarting again, although the league are understood to have their own discussions and plans as to how they can get the league underway perhaps sooner. In any case, that will almost certainly be without any fans in attendance. Now, we've seen the leader of the opposition, Keir Starmer, giving his view that actually, rather than lifting the lockdown measures in any way at this point, they should continue.
Oh, I think we should. I mean, I'm sure that is going to be the government's decision, the UK government's decision, and we will support it. Lockdown is to stay in place until we're sure the infection rate has gone down.
Now, we've seen the death toll coming in for the latest 24-hour period. 464 people, sadly, having lost their lives across the UK after testing positive for COVID-19.
Your deaths are just not dropping. Number one, baby.
540, although of course we know that the Office for National Statistics, their way of calculating figures could suggest the number is significantly higher. As for the ONS, we understand they are to start publishing their own estimates of the prevalence of coronavirus in the wider population at large, and that might give a better idea as to how many people have actually been infected with COVID-19, because of course we do know that not even close to anywhere near a majority of the country have even been tested to have a better idea as to what that figure may be.
Isa, thank you very much indeed.
Is it St. George's Day or something? I don't know. Relax. I have no idea why people are putting their flags out. Oh, like VD Day, mate. Venereal Disease Day, mate. That's what it is. VE Day. That's what all the Union Jacks will be for.
Introduce proper testing procedures or strategies. We now have the largest death rate from COVID.
Donald Trump got his tanning regime from Thomas Sheridan. That's another interesting little known fact.
19.
Oh, Donald Trump ain't the OG orange man in the political sphere, baby.
In the whole of Europe, second only in the world to United States of America. We have had a disastrous strategy as far as personal protective equipment.
And you may take your PPE, but Tommy Sheridan will go to 6 clubs and sound like the most Scottish person he can, brothers and sisters. Right, see when somebody's up in front of you, right, and he's speaking to people who aren't his brothers and sisters, and they're calling you brothers and sisters, I'm like, oh, it's almost like somebody telling you who's never met you, I love you. You're like, you don't know me, mate. I'm not saying you need to hate me or anything, but say, I love you all. Ooh, flippity flappity flu, I love you all. Fucking Cloud Cuckoo Land too is really like that. Maybe it's just me, but I don't know. I don't walk down the street thinking how much I love everybody. I'm not walking down wanting to chop people's heads off or anything, you know. I'm quite a good day, nice day, how you doing? La la la. Love you too, love you too. Anyway, there's Shredder.
The line of dealing with COVID-19. Every single commitment this government has.
Brothers and sisters, you may take our lives, but you'll never take our swingers parties.
Given has been a tissue of lies. Why, therefore, should we continue to follow a government that has been wrong in every single aspect?
One thing, Tommy, where it's right, is we've got to get the whole country back to work. And after all, the suggested measures Boris Johnson may well introduce on Sunday are very limited indeed, very mild in effect.
We have to get the country back to work when it's right and safe to go back to work. All of the conditions currently on the table show that we still have a...
You can always tell a heavy, broad-speaking Scotsman on national television. They have to speak at quarter speed so people can understand them, brothers and sisters. Do not adjust your TV sets. I have just took the advice to slow my speech down a little too far, brothers and sisters.
A deadly virus that has not been dealt with properly. People are still dying, nearly 500 more in the last 24 hours. The
Prod Glaswegians on national TVs, the funniest. They never talk like this in a million fucking years. When Scots try to speak slowly, but Glaswegians try to speak slowly so people can understand them, it sounds like you're speaking to a 2-year-old.
largest death rate in Europe, going into lockdown later than the rest of Europe, starting to test later than the rest of Europe. We were too late to go into lockdown. We certainly shouldn't be too early coming out.
Whistleblowers in British care homes have hit out at PPE shortages.
Look, they've got another artist impression or something in the background there.
And companies ignoring or even dismissing their concerns as the virus continues to spread. It comes as compassioning.
Oh, do you know what's a funny thing as well? Right, listen, that's what I took a while for me to actually try and get an understanding of this, right? You know the bull crap that David Icke is spinning, that the test doesn't test for the virus, it tests for a genetic material that we've all got in the first place anyway, right? Not only is it like completely false, right, but the stupid doctor that London Real had on to put this bullcrap claim forward, not only was it Dr. Dre, but anyway, actually has to acknowledge the virus is real to say the test is full of shite, and I'll tell you why. The genetic material that they're saying is creating false positives on the tests. The reason they're saying the genetic material that exists in human beings is causing false positives on the test is because there's part of that genetic material that looks like the virus which doesn't exist. I get my head round that. I was like, my God, not only is Ike quoting doctors who aren't doctors, he's quoting another doctor whose information he's using to back up his claims of a non-existent virus, but the doctor's claim rest on the virus being real in the first place. This is how they bamboozle you with bullshit and not being able, not in the ignorance of most of us in the field of viruses and genetic strands and genomes and all the stuff that I'm obviously an expert in, because look, I'm wearing a Son of Anarchy t-shirt, and sunglasses and a hat indoors. Why wouldn't you get me? Why wouldn't you trust me when I'm talking about viruses and stuff? But my best attempt to get my head round this, the genetic material that the doctor is claiming is creating a false positive, which feeds into David Icke's claim that the numbers are fake, relies on the genetic material looking like the virus which doesn't exist. Right? So again, Spock, what do you think about that, Spock?
Fascinating.
It is fascinating, Spock, you know? See if you get off the Loonball train. The Loonball train's great because it's got flashing lights, it's got a good versus evil, and you're the good guy, and you're God versus the devil, and Illuminati terrorists, and it's a brilliant train, man. It's entertaining as woo, fuck. The Illuminati Loonball train does loop-the-loops and twisters and everything, but then you just go aboard of the boring logic train and just try and make some rhyme and reason or some stuff. This is dull and boring, you know. I want UFOs to be real, but it turned out to be a duck. I want viruses to be fake, and there'll be a small cabal of people trying to take over the world in some sort of a communist, socialist, Green Party takeover. But it's more complicated and a lot more dull and boring than that. It's just rich groups of people jousting out for more power than they've already got, and using ways and means of duping us.
In Care reports a spike in the number of calls to its anonymous helpline and released a report detailing some of the most harrowing stories.
People are clapping for the NHS, but care staff, we are treated like dirt by our employers, and even in the local community, we are treated like lepers. People have no idea how hard it is. You're working with staff who don't care, or who do care, but are too frightened to say anything. Anyone who breaks ranks, they are in big trouble.
We have no nurses here. How are we supposed to care for people? We have people here who are sick. They should have someone with them, at least, but there is not enough of us. At best, we have a quick look at them. It feels like the only thing we are doing for people is checking to see if they are still alive. That's not care at all. I could not take it anymore. I kept saying, this is wrong.
The helpline operator reported over 170 calls from care workers since the start of the pandemic. More than 100 were from residential care.
See, when you hear stories like that, is hard and is unbelievable. The story that came out of Spain where they found a hair comb, a hair comb. Give it to me. A care home with hundreds of dead residents and no staff. The staff had done the off. It does sound plausible, doesn't it? You could just imagine like working there with no protective equipment. That everybody's talking about how infectious this virus is. All the dead people dying around you. You've got 5 kids or whatever. Man, that's a heart goes out. Not only do the doctors and nurses need recognition, but the people that are working in care homes, nurseries, all the places that can't get shut down, otherwise the country would just grind to a complete halt. Even the people working in supermarkets, my God. But predominantly it's all young people and very old people that work in supermarkets. Let's listen to some more doom.
Care homes, over 20 in care agencies and 42 in nursing homes. It comes as the virus continues to rip through the institutions, with more than 4,000 deaths from coronavirus in a fortnight, and the number expected to rise drastically.
The first few days, I think we were all running on adrenaline. Then people got sick. I do not know what I expected, but not this. These people need nursing. They need to be in hospital. We are looking after people with no PPE. We only have gloves, and they are running out. I thought this company was all right until I whistle blew. They said I was letting the team down, moaning about this. They told all the other staff I was complaining about them. That's not true. I reported proper concerns about that. People should be sent to hospital, and staff were at risk with no PPE. I felt I had no choice but to leave. It was so horrible.
There are no nurses here. We
Sounds
have no
very
PPE,
similar to
and the only advice is from a GP on a video.
the nurse's story out of America, doesn't it?
The people who are sick are really suffering. They can't take a drink. They need to be on a drip. They are so thirsty and they need help to breathe. This is like a war zone in here. They need to be in hospital. I keep reporting this, but I'm told to leave it alone. Yes, people have died from lack of medical care. I feel so useless they won't listen to me.
That's very strange. It sounds like stories coming out of care homes and earlier on with that nurse of particular points, not only the people but the system itself being close to breaking point with the amount of strain that's getting put on it. And the more pressure you put on the system, the more accidents, the more deaths that would probably be avoidable happen, so on and so forth. Now, not only does David Icke not address the fact that there's hundreds, if not thousands, of pictures of this non-existent virus. What's all are all these doctors and are all these nurses and people that work in care homes and stuff? Are they all in the big cabal? Are they all making this up? Is this a small few people at the top controlling all this?
Compassion in Care said the whistleblowing process is moving at unprecedented speed during the crisis. That's as over 100 organisations signed.
See, if your granddie or granda or your mum or dad or whatever was in a care home and this kicked off, man, surely you would go and break them out. Would it not be safer for the old person to be isolated at home with like 2 or 3 family members rather than a care home where there's staff coming and going who are mixing with God knows how many people? Surely the lot... Spock! Logical thing again. Surely the logical thing would be to, the policy would be to make them resident, allow them to stay where there would be less contact over the longevity, and not just a kind of one size fits all, everybody stay at home even when it doesn't kind of make sense policy, you know? I don't know. Just thinking out loud.
And an open letter warning politicians across the country to take urgent action to help care home workers as they are facing intolerable pressure. But the UK government says that despite the crisis, things are changing.
An epidemic going on in care homes, which is something I bitterly regret, and we've been working very hard for weeks to get it down. And a huge amount of effort has been gone into by...
I'm being serious, man. Like, I want my Prime Minister to comb his hair. I don't really believe in... Well, I'm the founding father of Estonia. What I'm talking about, I don't have a Prime Minister, right? But if I did have a Prime Minister, if I voted and elected, participated in a dog and pony show to say this guy's got authority over me, or can tell me what to do, I would definitely want him to comb his hair. Just a thought.
Literally tens of thousands of people to get the right PPE to care homes, to encourage
PPI.
workers in care homes to understand what is needed. In the last few days, there has been a palpable improvement.
Well, for more on this, I'm now joined by the founder of Compassion in Care and author of the Whistleblower Report, Eileen Chubb. Eileen, thank you very much indeed for being with us. Of course, these reports you detail are truly shocking, and it appears to be quite widespread throughout the country.
Yes, it's widespread right across the UK, and calls are continuing to come in. Just picking up on what Boris Johnson said just then in that clip, helping workers understand what's needed.
Retangent. See, when I say women of the older generation, and they're wearing some sort of a weird scarf behind their neck and all that, I just think their necks, they've looked in the mirror and thought their neck looks old, and they're like, right, that's it. It's going behind a scarf for the rest of my life. Oh dear.
Needed. These workers have always understood what's needed. They've been telling us this days before the lockdown started. Nobody in government has been listening. Care workers and vulnerable people have been deliberately put at risk. In fact, the only lockdown that should have happened should have been in care homes. And the vast majority of concerns about the lack of PPE, but also the crucial thing here is there was an official government policy to place people in care homes from hospital with COVID, infecting the rest of the home, and people have died as a result of that policy, even if the government did a U-turn. There's also the fact that, you know, care staff are saying people need to go to hospital, they need to be on a drip, they need help to breathe. And this is horrendous. People have died in horrendous circumstances with no medical care whatsoever. And if somebody fell in the street and they had COVID, would you walk past them and not call for an ambulance? Of course you'd call for an ambulance. Why should people in care homes be denied this basic right?
You say...
Well, what you do then is you kick them out the the home in the middle of the street, phone an ambulance and run away. I'm kicking them out the care home because I care. That's what me and Spock would do. We go, right, logically, right, technically speaking, we can't get these people into, right, let's kick them out. Round all the old people up, drop them 2 metres apart, down the street. Every 2 metre, leave an old person dying of COVID, phone an ambulance. There's a big line of old people dying in the middle of the street, quick! And the ambulances would come and have to take them to hospital. And then all those excess ventilators and all that we've got, because Dyson and stuff made a lot of money for this shit, would be great. We would be using them. All our Dyson ventilators would be getting used. See, not only am I a pretty face, I'm very practical when it comes to solving problems. So, some people see a tragedy unfolding in the care home system and all these little technicalities not allowing old people get the care that they need in the hospitals. I see solutions. That's what I see. I see solutions. And the solution is just drop off a dying old person every 2 metres, or you could even be a wee bit extra safe because they're old and coughing and spluttering, make it every 4 metres, just down the main street, boom, boom, just drop them off, boom, boom, and then phone an ambulance and get them all put in hospital. Job's a good one, hen. See? Thinking outside the box.
The government isn't listening, but what is also stark in this report that it seems that companies, management, seem to be dismissing the concerns of staff. What evidence do you have of that?
These companies, a lot of these companies are making multi-billion-pound profits. This is a fact. There's evidence on our website. Please go and look. You know, this is a fact that we've been talking about for years. You know, social care is beyond the law. We need to take back our care system into...
Breaking news. Cheers for this, Tony. This looks interesting, mate. At first I just thought it was because of what was happening just now, but then I looked at the date on it.
Most of my shit is on the other side of fucking LA. If you don't have your day that planned, you're in no fucking danger of moving ahead. You gotta have your day fucking planned. But to get something out of the way here, what the fuck is it? A lot of things happened last week, and one of the things that happened was I got mad at a particular fucking podcast, and a lot of people have been asking me what happened. The one we did with that fucking moron, I'm not going to give them any light. I'm not going to give people any fucking light on this thing. And that's why I hate starting a podcast off, but you guys are loyal listeners, and I owe you a fucking apology for tweeting that way, and I also owe you an apology because I didn't want you to see that side of me. What happens in my life is this, okay? There's two things you gotta do in your life if you want to get a fucking head. This ain't me preaching. I'm just telling you because I went through everything. I read every fucking self-help book. I went to Anthony Robbins. I made my confirmation at 28. Did you know that, Lee? No. I had more fucking problems than anybody, so I know what it's like. And the one thing that made my life so much smoother, by 80%, Lee, was claiming responsibility for my actions.
Yeah.
And not being such a pussy about my actions, i.e., I didn't do it. I don't do nothing, okay? When the cops come, that's what I tell the cops. But when a good friend like Lee comes up to me, or a person that's striving for you, and you try to fucking chuck and jive around them, people will never trust you again.
No.
I have a weird thing with people. If you chuck and jive around me, you want to chuck and jive around me, that's great. But when it comes to business, we cannot do it. I agreed to do a podcast. Lee and I showed up. We did the podcast. The podcast went up. It was a very good podcast, part of it, because I was high to the fucking gills with Lee. I got sizzled here with Lee. That's why the podcast was real. Everything I fucking talk about these things is real. And I want people to understand the mind frame when you live in LA. It's not, we're at the fucking bar drinking with my friends. No. You got to give people the illusion of that. You're doing comedy. You're writing jokes. You're doing all this shit, you know? So I do this podcast, they put it up, they hit me. But I noticed that they were doing little things before that were kind of weird. They were sending me emails to retweet shit for Eddie Bravo and all this shit. They're friends, but you know what? If you do your own marketing, you don't need other people to fucking retweet shit for you. Nothing bothers me more than when I go to some of these pages and I see 15 fucking retweets. What, don't you have a fucking personality of your own? Don't you have anything to fucking say on your own? But some people are shy or whatever. No worries. The podcast comes out that day on the thing. I see that they're hitting friends of mine. Okay, like Bert Kreischer, retweet this for Joe Diaz. This guy, retweet this for Joe Diaz. Right away, that's a fucking no-no in my book. Okay, do your own marketing. Then they started going to people that I'm not cool with. Like, I'm not cool with them. Why would you go to them and say, retweet this for fucking Joe Diaz without fucking asking me? So what do? I see that they're doing it under 2 different Twitter handles. So I contact that fucking cunt that runs the podcast. He contacts me back with this distant email that it's his interns that did it, that he's sorry. I go out
That's the meaning of life.
They got a different Twitter account doing it in a different way. mentioning the guy's name. Hey, you did great on this podcast. Like, they don't know that I don't know what a new fucking fake Twitter account looks like. Like, they think I just fell off the fucking boat. I go to bed. I don't do nothing. I send them an email. Hey, guy, I come here to do the podcast Wednesday morning. As I'm doing the fucking podcast, I'm looking at the feed, and he's going to people that I know, asking them to be guests on my show. That is why I got angry. You don't do that to people. He was going out to Jim Norton and people like that I'm not even that cool with. I just know through comedy, hello and goodbye. So you cannot do that to people. Instead of this guy sending me an email going, bro, I'm sorry, I'm looking for guests, he keeps telling me it's his fucking interns. That's what I got pissed off about. Because claim responsibility. Even till today, he put up a YouTube video on Monday saying that it was his fucking interns. That guy.
He's probably claiming right now that all the copyright strikes and all that he's dishing out against his video, so people have to go behind his paywall, marketing wall, as his interns as well, probably.
You never want to do business with a guy like that cannot claim responsibility.
Back in the room,
that is a
sound
pussy. That's the type of guy that'll leave you in a fucking lurch. He's never gotten back to me. If all he had to do was write me an email and say, dog, I fucked up. I really want the podcast. Now, what does he get? He has nothing. Can't contact Rogan, can't contact me, can't contact anybody in our fucking circle. They're supposed to be putting up somebody from Death Squad podcast next week. That's going down too. Then they tried to be fucking cute and set up 2 more accounts and asked me yesterday to put it back up. Like, this guy has no fucking idea that as soon as he fucking contacted me, as soon as his beef was going down, I got 30 people that listened to that podcast that told me the guy was a puke that got rid of his fucking partner. Then I got a call from an attorney. I got 2 tweets from an attorney that said all they need is the fucking word to terrorize them. Then I got fucking tweets from gangsters in London that said to get their fucking address and then break their fucking legs. So, if you're listening or if you're watching, if you're friends of these cunts, explain to them. They can get it from every fucking direction. And the reason why I haven't gone after them in a real because I'm a fucking old school gangster. I'll shut them down Twitter way. I'll shut them down Smart. I know fucking, all I gotta do is make 2 fucking phone calls to a buddy of mine on YouTube, and he'll do whatever the fuck he wants for us. I just don't ask him because I don't want to fucking impose on him. But you understand me? Why fuck around? Why fuck around with people that could help you or just be fucking really cool to you? Especially after I say something to you.
Yeah.
That's when it shuts down. Once I say something to you and I look at you like a man, that's when you go, oh, I get who I'm dealing with here. I'll act like a fucking man. No. 6 days later, this fucking cunt of a fag of a man, because he's weak, still puts out a YouTube video. That's his fucking intern. This is the guy we're dealing with. That nerdy little motherfucker with his little cunty fucking girl. That's who we're fucking dealing with here. So, if you know somebody like that in your life, or if you have that quality that you can't assume responsibility, look somebody in the face and go, hey, guess what, bro? I'm a fucking sinner. I fucked up. Shoot yourself. Because it ain't gonna get no better for you. Trust me. At 28, I ended up in fucking prison. If I didn't claim responsibility for my actions, I wouldn't be here in front of you right now. Because with stand-up, you gotta claim responsibility eventually. If not, they'll fucking eat you up.
Yeah, didn't you say the judge wasn't gonna give you as much time, but you didn't claim responsibility?
Yeah.
So that's it's not only for this situation. Like, especially at work or at school, if you don't, like, let's say you don't turn in like a paper or something, if you just say, oh, like, if you're trying to make excuses, but if you just say, like, listen, I was late, or at work you messed up, there's not really anything anyone can say after that when you just say sorry. So, like, it doesn't have to even be for this podcast. If you just take responsibility, people really can't say shit after that.
No, it's ruined me. It's ruined my relationship with people. Especially after like 33. Once somebody can't say to me, I can't deal with it.
Yeah.
Listen, let me tell you how fucking perverse and disgusting I am. Whenever somebody does something bad, I claim responsibility. That's the type of guy I am. In the back of my mind. Because do you understand me? Because that's where I came from. For a while, everything that happened was me. And I would always deny, or there was always a reason. Mm-hmm. There's always a reason. I'm bound to wait. Listen, man, our parents aren't watching. You're not going to get beat up no more. Nobody's going to smack you in the fucking mouth. Nobody's going to punch you. Nobody's going to do nothing to you. Just come to... But this isn't about coming to grips with people. This is about coming to grips with yourself. And being honest with yourself. You know how many times I get off stage and I'm like, Lee, that wasn't one of my good sets. And you're like, that was... No. I know I was dick.
That's what I'm doing when I'm deleting some of my drunk casts.
If I don't put that belief in myself, I'm never going to move forward. So this isn't even about the people around you. It all starts with the belief in yourself. And to be honest with yourself and go, you know what? I got to get on stage more. I got to do these things more. I got to go to the gym more. I got to be nicer to my wife. I got to do all these things more. That catches you. And that's claiming responsibility. And that's all I ever wanted from anybody. I don't want money. I don't want friendship. If you do that around me, we'll always be fucking cool.
Yeah. No, it's a tough thing to do because I mean, all that guy.
I've never watched the way I smoke a joint. Maybe I smoke joints funny, but I always think Americans smoke joints and blunts or whatever they're smoking kind of weird. A weird breed over there.
Is excited about his podcast and he wants people to see it, but the way to go. That's not the way to go about it.
Their fingers must be made out of titanium, man. You're a wee guy and you were smoking the beef and stuff in school. Burn your fucking fingers. I'm just a big pussy.
Yeah.
There's a way to do things. There's a way not to do things. He would have been cool with me from the jump. If he would have said, bro, don't worry about it. Hey, man, do me a favor. Can you hit up this guy or that guy to be on your podcast? I would have said, let me try for you. But for you to, and then to blame it on your fucking interns. And then on Monday to keep blaming it on your interns. It does something to you. It to me, I'm as sensitive as they fucking come. You see me big and fuck you and all this, dog. I cry at the side of a fucking hat.
Okay.
And I get very unsensitized with people. In my demented mind, I think you're fucking with me.
Okay.
I think you're fucking with me.
In what way?
Let's break it out in the fucking open. You came to me about a year ago and you said, dog, when you put a podcast out on Fridays, it goes nowhere. Start releasing them on Thursday. You were talking about me and Felicia beating the beast.
Yeah.
I told Felicia that 50 times. And she would release the thing on Saturdays. So in the back of my mind, you're fucking with me. You're fucking with me. That's what you're doing to me. You're really like trying to make a fucking jerk off out of me. That's what you're fucking trying to do to me. After we've had this conversation 10 fucking times that nothing comes out on Friday. So if you're going to release the podcast, It's Thursday, whatever. I don't give a fuck. You release 11:50 fucking 9 on Thursday night.
Mm-hmm.
Do not release it after Friday because people don't download it. Saturday at 6 o'clock, I would get a link that she just released it. So
I'm lost.
In my mind, you're fucking with me.
Is he really like having a go at that? I don't know.
Can't say nothing to nobody
I
because
don't
right
watch his
away
podcast.
you're being that. You understand me?
Yeah. And that's the biggest thing why we've worked together for so long, because both of us will do what we say when we're going to do it.
Do it. Done. Do it and get it. When you got to do something, do it and get it over with. You sitting around contemplating. When I got to do something in the morning, dog, this times I'm fucking wiped out.
Yeah, that was a wee bit of something different. Oh, no, it's on RT.
The public ownership, because if this crisis doesn't teach us that, then more people will die next time, and there will be a next time. This was totally foreseeable. And care staff have to struggle most of the times in ordinary circumstances for equipment. Of course they're not going to have that equipment when there's a crisis on. They don't have it the rest of the time. I've got care staff all year round telling me that the conditions in care homes, and it's appalling. It's appalling that these staff are seen as cheap labour with no rights. Some are on 0-hour contracts. We should be ashamed of this country.
And what is also shocking, the situation in care homes is still worsening by the day. But the fact, because of your efforts, because of the media attention, this issue is now top of the agenda. Don't you think that things might actually change now?
These things should have been changed 6 weeks ago. I'm sorry, but there was countless people have died that could have still been alive, and not one of those deaths should go without an investigation. They should be accountable for everything that's happened in these care homes. The policy of denying people hospital treatment, of admitting people with COVID, all of this, there needs to be an official inquiry, because it speaks of a culture, not an inability to organise, but of a culture that discriminates against people because of their date of birth and discriminates against care staff. And to be honest, it is a scandal, and we don't even know the half of it. And we also had evidence from Spanish care workers who were being accused of fleeing care homes when actually they were forced out of their jobs, some of them, for
I stand corrected. There is another version on the thing that I'd heard.
Speaking up and saying this is not right. There, again, nobody was listening. Nobody's been listening to these care workers. It's our fourth report.
But yet the government, Boris Johnson said there's been a palpable improvement. What do you want to see tangibly now from the government right now?
Right now, I want to see every care staff with PPE, and I want to see every residential care home that has no nursing staff sending people to hospital. The Queen Elizabeth Hospital's got empty beds galore and ventilators that could save these people's lives. Send them to hospital.
Makes perfect sense to me. Hen, tell your staff, empty out these old people on the middle of the street every 4 metres to be extra doubly safe and call ambulances. You're right. See, I've just cracked. Somebody emailed this woman with my idea. She'll just thank me and technically, right, I've got a problem. The reaction is I watched RT and then I'll give you the solution, Hen. It'll be like David Icke, problem, reaction, solution, you know? It sounds great, doesn't it? Ooh, problem, reaction, solution. Means whatever you want it to mean, baby, because it's gobbledygook.
And make sure they're given the care that they've paid into the system for all their lives.
Eileen Chubb, thank you very much indeed for joining us live here on RTUK. Still to come this hour, India is repatriating thousands of its citizens stranded by the lockdown as many Indian students in the UK go hungry. And the hospitality industry continues to be hit hard by the pandemic as just 1 in 3 companies expect all of their venues to reopen when normal life resumes. I'll be joined by the Chief Executive of Campaign for Real Ale.
Let's watch some of the adverts. I bet there'll be a gold advert selling you gold. Alex Jones gold. You watch for songs and stuff.
The world is driven by dreamers, shaped by thinkers, and
I'll be honest, I love watching her show. So easy in the eye, but it's so politically stimulating at the same time. Understand is sunglasses indoor means nonce, but then I've got my anti-nonce bonnet to counteract that, you know, in the language of bullshit that don't exist. That's what that means. Or the language I just made up.
Who dares, thinks. We dare to ask.
Ooh. Yes, just show me our midrifts. Sophie and Co. Visionaries.
So what we've got to do is identify the
Sell us
threats
some gold.
that we have.
It's crazy.
Confrontation, let it be an arms race.
Who is on offense? Very dramatic.
Come on, rap the music. Come on, rap the news to me, RT. I've not done about RT in ages, man. I forgot how great it was.
A very critical time.
Time to sit down and talk.
I used to watch a lot of those shows all the time back then. Just update fresh. Oh, hold on. I've got some breaking news on my own here if I don't press the wrong buttons. Let me just see, just a couple of emails directly in from YouTube. YouTube have manually reviewed one of my videos and they have determined it's all good in the hood, baby, and advertising friendly. And the video is Brian Rose and London Real's new blockchain platform claims debunked. Boom! I'm getting better at not saying fake. I think it's cool. But the real version of that all the time. It's hard. It sounds, honestly, it's so hard. It's also difficult not to say the word. Boom.
India has started its repatriation process with 7 flights scheduled from London Heathrow to bring citizens back home after over a month of coronavirus lockdown. Thousands have applied, but officials say only the most vulnerable will be given priority. The passengers will have to pay for flights and quarantine for
do with the price of curry?
14 days upon arrival in India. But many Indian students stranded in Britain have little chance of affording that and have already run out of cash, as RTUK's Shadit Edwards-Dashton reports.
Right, so somehow India links back to Britain stinks. To my shock, I was wondering, what did you do? RT? Russia Today? English speaking? The English news? Concerned about Indian citizens? No, it's just beat up Britain. Bullshit.
The coronavirus pandemic grounded flights around the world, and for most, it means cancelled.
This is how we do it. Boom, boom, boom. This is how they do it. Do, do, do. I'm going to make up a song, lyrics to that, about how RT do the news. Low cup tops and models all the time. This is how they do it. Short skirts and long legs all the time. This is how they do it. More tits on show than Fox News. This is how they do it. RT will rap the news. This is how they do it. Boom! See? Just spitting it like that. Like Eminem, move over. In fact, let's hold on. Ice-T and London Real. Are you US fake? Oh, hold on, where am I? I'm all the gaff here. Let me get this up and play this for you. See, we'll be howling, man. Boom, ch, boom, boom, ch, boom, ch, boom, boom, ch. See, I do that trying to be funny, you know. But like, if imagine I was sitting there taking myself serious. I'm home to
live in profanity.
That's insanity. I'm living in profanity. His fucking face looks a melted Wellerbooth today. See?
Some punk claiming they understand him.
Oh, some punk understanding me? Don't understand me because that's some legalese and you don't know what it understands to me. You better read a legal dictionary today. Hee hee. Hee hee.
Give me a break. What world do you live in? Death is...
Well, give me a break. What world do you live in when you put this shit up on your own channel as if like you're fucking 16 again?
It's my sect. Now guess my religion.
I'm guessing you're the religion of fucking pure dumbass. No, hold on, it's coming to me. You're the religion of living out your midlife crisis live on YouTube. Boom! 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 My name's Brian Rose. I'm going to rap to you today, even though it looks like I'm having a midlife crisis today, yo.
Colors.
Holla! Holla! Yo! Thunderclap! Woo! Spit back at me, yo! I thought fucking Ice-T, man, is he known like fucking crime scene investigator or something nowadays more than a rapper? But anyway, man, that's genius, isn't it? Fucking genius. Right, where was I? Oh, right, RT, and I'm showing you tits and fanny and rapping the news to you. But, man, I forgot how good RT made the news look.
Holidays and business trips, but for thousands of Indian students here in the United Kingdom, unable to go home and unable to work to make ends meet, it's pushed many to the brink of poverty.
Initially, we were almost starving. I mean, we didn't have food supplies. We didn't have the regular supplies.
He's the gay rapping ninja.
Coming in, there was no milk, there was no bread, eggs. The basic dietary requirements were something that were not available for us.
We had a lot of calls, students saying that they got nothing to eat, absolutely nothing to eat. And these students are so scared because, you know, what happened in the UK, we all know the death rates, especially the BAME communities, death rate so high. So these students are really scared.
Yeah, that's saying something when there's like Indian students want to go back to India for safety for the UK. Fucking hell. If UK's a fucking shithole, I'm fucking off back to the slums of fucking Delhi. I mean, why would RT not broadcast something like that?
They had to go out, so they confine themselves in like complete isolation. They are trapped.
India banned international flights on the 22nd of March, giving those abroad just 2 days to find a way home. Flights that usually average around £300 jumped to nearly £2,000, meaning students strapped for cash had neither the time nor money to get themselves home. There were almost 27,000 Indian students in the United Kingdom in 2018-19, rendering them the fastest growing group of international students in Britain. And they can pay huge sums just to be here, up to £38,000 in tuition for an undergraduate degree. But charities have been flooded with requests from those who don't come from wealthy backgrounds.
I think Brian Rose
and have
must be
relied
getting
on
his
part-time jobs during their stay. Jobs that simply don't exist during the UK lockdown. The Indian National Students Association has distributed over 3,600 rescue packages to those in need.
So they try
I think Brian Rose must be getting his plastic surgery today. I'm not getting any deep state Illuminati attacks.
Because they cannot afford for proper food at the moment. There are some students also who partially depend upon the part-time job that the money that they earn from the part-time job to afford for their living. So at this point of time, when few have lost their job, international students are forced to such kind of financial struggle. There are people who are starving at this moment.
On top of that, many are also feeling the mental strain of isolation and uncertainty. Far away from their families and with the stringent lockdown in place is proving too much to handle.
In middle of April, it was really difficult for me to get a proper sleep. I get up in middle of the night.
There were some students who were also complaining of having some
I'm going
kind
to
of
make
a
another
mental
coffee. I don't know
breakdown,
if it's a good idea
and
or
some
not.
were even contemplating suicide.
I had enough on caffeine.
There's no
man.
support. There's no family. There's no friends here, and it has.
He honestly looks like the dude from EastEnders, one of the new dudes from EastEnders.
We have been sent, written emails saying that please help us. Otherwise we're going to die.
Labour's MP for Ealing Southall, Virendra Sharma, has urged universities to guarantee hardship funds for international students
8 more minutes
stranded
before
in
it goes
dire
on to the
situations, as well as more
documentary
advice
half-hour
and
or
other
whatever.
support. But Charan Sakron, who runs a small charity which usually focuses on education projects, says that universities have yet to offer financial support to students to help them through the crisis.
The universities have not put in place hardship funds. And also there was no immediate support package from the universities or even by the government. Universities should at least consider rent reductions and also fee reductions as well.
At the moment, people talk about hardship funds, but to Indian students whom I have been in contact with, none of them are receiving any such funds.
Universities
Lazy
maintain that they
Jesus
are
is saying Brian
offering
Rose is
help,
out
but students
skateboarding
do
with
need
David
to
Icke.
reach
That's
out
why I'm
and
not
tell
getting
them
deep state
about their
Illuminati
situation.
attacks.
Students
Must be
don't always highlight
skateboarding,
their difficulties and don't contact our support
kickboxing
team.
and
We would urge
rapping,
students
mate.
who are struggling
Like,
to get in contact
while
straight
drinking
away.
some cider,
University
hanging
can
about a
provide care
park
packages and
bench
financial support, as well as help finding work.
with baggy jeans
Our
on.
student support and well-being team is looking into the
You know that
details
Brian
and
Rose has
will
got
offer
like
help.
like 10 million pairs of jeans with rips in them.
Lockdown measures on the horizon, many of these students will be in the same situation for weeks, if not months to come, alone, far from home, and seemingly the forgotten victims of the coronavirus crisis. Shadi Edwards-Dashty, RT UK, London.
The hospitality sector has been one of the most hard hit throughout the coronavirus lockdown, and operators have grim predictions for their future. Just 36% of the larger hospitality firms see life after lockdown for all their venues, and
36% of people say they might think it's going to be really, really bad. Oh, come on, fuck our TV, can dig up something better to make Britain feel bad about ourselves?
October, although the use of venues' gardens has been floated as an interim measure. Well, for more on all of this, I'm now joined by the Chief Executive.
Talk about how bad Assange has got it again,
Tom, really
how
good to
badly
see you
the
today.
West done in Syria.
What on earth is a hospitality sector going
I'm
to
not
look
up to
like
date with
all
what's
these
happening in
closures?
Syria. I'm not watching enough
We're very
RT.
concerned about what it looks like, because even if pubs are allowed to reopen, likelihood is they're going to be reopening under many, many extra restrictions. So reduced number of customers are allowed
Campaign
in, social distancing,
for real
in the pub,
ale,
extra hygiene measures.
and he's on a news
of course,
channel.
We understand this, and we know the pubs are going to be
I
responsible
get it. They're
about
talking
this, but we're talking about very
economic
fine
stuff.
margin business at the best of times pre-lockdown, and if they have reduced customers and increased costs,
There's a strong possibility this guy might be just a wee bit drunk.
And the follow-on from that is if there are less pubs out there, there's less choice for consumers, there's less pubs that we can all enjoy, and it might be the big brands, the sort of more ubiquitous pubs that carry on existing, and we lose that real uniqueness about the British pub and hospitality industry.
And what you're saying, that even if some have the funds to reopen, because you can't maximise covers, maximise sales because of social distancing, they simply won't make enough money to stay open.
Just ready for a wrap-off
Yeah, exactly.
now,
And
you know.
these pub
Eminem
businesses
before
are
he got
difficult. They're
hits
very
on
fine
stage.
margins. They're based on getting 50 or 100 people into your pub on an evening. If, because of the responsible steps
Sitting
they're
there
taking,
before
they can only
going on
get 10 or
stage.
15
headphones on.
instead, you can see why it's going to be very difficult for them to continue to make money, and therefore the operator's going to look at them and say, is this really worth our while?
Smaller independent.
Remember
pubs were under
Eminem's
huge pressure
film?
anyway,
I think that
weren't
was
they?
pretty
So
much him. It was him looking
was this
stressed out
inevitable
with
for
a
them
pen
to
and
be
paper
closing
all the time.
in the near future?
I don't think so. I
Fuck
think
you,
the irony of
Mum.
this is pre-COVID, pre-lockdown, we were seeing a resurgence of the pub trade. We were seeing more pubs opening.
Like
we were
Mean and
seeing a
Moody
real renewed
with a pen and
interest in
paper.
pubs. So it's such a shame that they
Just getting my rhymes tight,
just
y'all.
as they begin to see light at the end of the tunnel.
Dollar bill,
The
y'all.
government can make
Get
sure
my
that
rhymes
pubs
tight,
can
y'all.
survive this, and that's by extending the support package. You know, the industry welcomed the support package that pubs gave. The
If
government
I
gave
could
pubs.
walk
But
8
they need
miles.
to recognise pubs are first into restrictions. They'll be last out, and they'll probably be operating under some sort of restrictions for a long time. So they
Yeah,
need to extend
finally.
that package just to
Ready
help
for the
pubs
stage,
reopen,
man.
help them
Just get up there
survive,
without his
and
bit of
importantly,
paper
help
because
them
he's got his
continue
rhymes
to
so
offer those
tight.
great community benefits that they bring.
And when they do reopen, can
No,
you
man,
advise
I'm
them
take
perhaps
that
on
back.
maybe,
8 Mile was
diversifying? I suppose it's you can't really do
masterpiece.
takeaway beer as such.
I can't
but
believe
know
it didn't
some
win
pubs doing
every
home
Oscar
delivery
that
of
year.
their food, because of course they have a great reputation for their gourmet pub cuisine.
Yeah, and actually pubs have been
too busy
very
reliving
agile
8
through
Mile
this
there to
crisis,
even listen
and they
to
are
what
doing
these guys will
takeaway Sunday
say.
lunches. They are doing takeaway beers. They're filling containers of beer on the doorstep under safe conditions. And actually, as an organisation, we launched a new app called Brew to You, which puts customers in touch with the pubs and breweries in the area that can either do home delivery.
Sorry, mate, what was your app called again? Can't understand why you're on there saying what you're saying, RT.
Or collections. So there's many ways pubs have diversified already, and I'm sure they'll continue to do that in order to maximise turnover, whatever happens on the reopening.
What about the trade itself? From the Campaign for Real Ale, what about producers of ale? How are they faring?
Well, again, they've been hit really, really hard, especially the independent British brewing industry. You know, these small microbreweries, the ones that really add that vibrancy to beer and to pubs. They weren't really included in the hospitality support package, so they've got a very little amount of the support, but their turnover collapsed overnight.
Dr. Dre a big
They've had
fat guy
furloughed
now?
Staff. They've had nowhere they can sell their product into. And if we want
You know what,
pubs
you would
to be
think with
great
him being a
again, we need
doctor
the big
as well,
supply to be
Maria,
great
he would
again
know
as
better
well.
to
So that's what
overeat.
we've been calling government to do, is to extend that support to brewers, to cider producers, to all those great
Dr.
people
Dre
in the
really needs to have a
supply
word with his
chain that make
doctor.
pubs what they are.
You talk about pubs being great again. Do you have any optimism, confidence that the industry will actually recover?
I think
Hold on, let me think. Fuck yeah. I reckon within the first sort of a week's worth of we're allowed back into the pubs and clubs bukkake that this country's going to have, when finally the pubs and clubs are allowed to reopen, you're never going to... VE Day, beating the fucking Nazis and all that. Hey, you were still allowed to go in pubs and clubs and all that when you were fighting the Nazis. See, when this shit fucking gets relieved and we're allowed to go to pubs and clubs again, man. Whew, wow, man, the lid is going to come off the whole fucking world, man. I actually think, you remember when they said, this is true, I heard it in the back of I heard it in a Christmas cracker, it must be true. But hey, they weren't the cheap Christmas crackers, they were the mid-range ones, so you can trust this. If you got every Chinaman in China to jump up and down at the one time, something would happen. I think a guy in Australia would fall down a plug hole and go back away. No, I think there would be an earthquake or something. I don't know, I think you'd feel it. But the world's going to shake. I predict man-made earthquakes through partying when the lockdown gets lifted. I think all the pubs and clubs and all that will make their money back within the first 2 weeks because they'll be allowed to charge triple the price because they'll need to make back 9 month, 12 month or whatever, however many months profit back in 2 weeks. So, humana. That's my prediction for the future. But not to say that obviously a lot of smaller people who can't weather the storm, well, unfortunately, go under unless the government helps them out. But who knows? Socialism.
So I think, if anything, what this period has reminded us is how important pubs are. I think everyone, even people who weren't regularly going, are missing the fact they can pop into their local, they can chat to people, they can chat to the bar staff, they can enjoy a really good pint of.
You know, man, think of how many frustrated single men there are out there.
Of real ale in their pub, and it may.
I'd love someday to. Oh, in fact, here's maybe I should do this as a real bit of investigating journalism. Right now, the BBC the other day, in their investigative journalism capacity, phoned round lots of hairdressers to see who would cut hair and so on and so forth. For journalistic purposes, I might phone round lots of hookers and see what the hookers policy is with regards to corona. I'm being perfectly serious. I bet you the price of prostitutes have went fucking through the fucking roof. Guarantee you, actually. Not that I actually know, but I might actually do that. Just phone someone in hookers like, yeah, you still hooking? What's your prices nowadays?
Maybe it's just reinforced for people how important pubs are to our culture, to their social life, to their communities. And I'd really hope that once restrictions are lifted, once they can start supporting them again, they'll actually say, yeah, these are important businesses. They're employing people locally, they're bringing money to the local economy, and they're giving me a lot of benefits as well.
Tom Stainer, really good to talk to you, and very best of luck. Thank you for joining us here on RTK.
Thank you.
And that's all your news for the moment. I'll have more in half an hour, including the government's daily coronavirus press briefing live.
Little Dodd. That name reminds me of a comedian, Ken Dodd. No, Bill Dodd. Anyway, there was a wee bit of something different. We have a wee bit of a nurse, American nurse, explaining the corona conspiracy. That's not what I heard, but each to their own. Wee bit of RT, wee bit of BBC, all thrown in. A wee bit of Eminem and Ice-T. What more could you ask for? So, if I can find where the stream is. Here it's here. I'm going to say hi to the folks in the chat and get out of here. Hold on, I can actually. Oh, dearie me. Bright in the afternoon, my man. As I said, buddy, if you wanted to use that number to contact me, use WhatsApp. If not, there's email addresses, Skype, and Zoom details. Maria, you got to see her in the evening, Maria. Hope in the afternoon, even, Maria. Hope you're okay. Decon. It's prohibition all over again. Out of context, but I don't know. Will be crazy for sure. Oh, I like when I was pubs and clubs when they reopen. Relax. Oh my god, what the fuck? In the afternoon, mate. Hope you're all good. Lazy Jesus. In the afternoon, mate. Hope you're keeping well. You know, it's easy to forget that there's lots of people out there who had fucking problems and fucking had kicked to the stones and all that before this shit happened, and it's like a lot of people are double dunting, and then like, stay strong, citizens, lick doorknobs and play with traffic. Jodie in the afternoon, Jodie, hope you're keeping well. Staying safe in your work, if it's possible. Oh my god, what the fuck? Bright Creepy Crawl was in it as well in the afternoon, guys and girls. Relax. Angry man. It's too angry man. This is a place of entertaining and fun and laughter and giggles. No room for angry men. Little angry men with little flaccid penises. No time. Ain't got nobody got time for that. She speaks the truth, Jodie. I think you were talking about that woman on RT about the care homes. I know, man, it's like care homes, nursery people. There's a lot of people in the supermarkets. I feel so sorry for the people in the supermarkets. Wages should get doubled. You know, there should see if there was a proper fucking supermarket stack shelfer union. They'd be like, right, danger money now, Mr. Sainsbury's, Mr. Tesco, and Mr. Walmart, and Mr. Aldi and Lidl's, and the rest of you bastards. Danger money, or your shelves aren't getting stacked. But then the big corporate whore media will go like, oh, they're holding the citizens' food supply to ransom, if that makes sense. To which I would reply, damn fucking right, Mr. Sainsbury's and Tesco, get your fucking money out, you pricks. That goes to the right honourable gentleman for whopping. Blazing Stars, how you doing, my man? The Dot, the artist formerly known as Tony, how you doing, buddy? In the afternoon, guys and girls, thanks for joining. One and all, hopefully I've managed to say hi to you all. If not, your Deep State Illuminati, remember what I do here. It's digital busking. It's all available and accessible, free of charge. I'm going to do such a good job. You're valuing what I do. Use your spare change, not your life savings, and the PayPal button down below. And a mega thanks to those who do. And if things are working correctly, subscribe and bell up. And what's this? Nah, I need to practice that more, but we'll get better. Somehow got that. It'll look pretty cool. Anyway, and bell and sub up for all the stuff we'll be doing between now and whenever. Tomorrow night for See Through the Fear Porn Friday. I'm going to go out for a wee walk and all that. What in the real world would you think this is? And Red Dead Redemption 2 or 3, I think it's 2. And get some food, man. Getting hungry again. That rolling. Oh God. I started this stream. How long the hell have I been going? But nearly 4 hours. Jesus Jones. I've only peed once. But for those late to the party, I did actually have a piece, square sausage, and fried sauerkraut. Beautiful. Anyway, thanks everybody. Keep it real. Catches.
Clips. Remember, citizens, the most important way to protect yourself is to subscribe and hit that bell. Jim Dawson says it will keep you out of hell before you all burn in eternity.
Catches. Shit, I've lost my button.